have you briefed them for the Dr. Hinduja?
Hi, good evening everyone from India, and good morning to American around the world. Namaskar to Rajkumarji, and we have, we have special guests lined up today. So right now we have Nicholas joining us from Raleigh, North Carolina. We have Kimberly joining us from Raleigh, North Carolina, and then we have Rajkumar Jain from Mumbai. Namaste, Rajkumarji. How are you doing?
Sir, fine, thank you.
He's on a delay. There's a delay, so just have him talk. It'll catch up.
There's a delay in Mumbai. It's on the Mumbai delay. Delhi comes in right away, but Mumbai delay. Yeah. It's the Bollywood delay.
Bollywood delay.
Mumbai is not good at this point.
You know,
so how is the situation in America? Because yesterday we have witnessed that there are more than 2,500 people died in US due to COVID.
Yeah, we have some very serious problems here, Ankit, in case you don't know. Supposedly it's plateaued, but it's not a good plateau because people are still dying and people are still getting, getting hit with this. And the economic hit, which we'll discuss more on Monday, is tremendous to the point where people are getting tired of staying at home and being broke, that they'd rather catch the coronavirus and die. I mean,
we got a free event that they can attend over the weekend and play and learn how to play this game and potentially win money.
Yeah, that's on Saturday. That'll be good. Yeah, I've never seen this one, so that'll be pretty interesting. But it's actually a serious problem here because we're getting hit two ways. One is the coronavirus, which is making people ill very quickly and dying very quickly. This thing happened real quick. Then there's the economic effect. Everybody's staying home. No one's making money. We're not used to that. You know, staying home, not making money, the bills come in and the money doesn't come in. So
it's down very quickly and we're fine.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's a serious problem. So there were protests, literally protests on the streets, people being arrested because they wanted to go back to work so they could make money and restart the economy. Here's the reality of the situation. And I've talked to several people that we're probably won't really restart everything until next year. And that's the hard reality of the situation. But leaders don't want to tell people that because it's the hard reality of what we have.
Well, leaders have that problem of balancing. How are you going to continue inspiring people? But what they need to do is get off their butts and inspire us to do things at home that we can earn money. Give us a stimulus that is consistently there for us like they did in Australia, or tell us like they did in India, we're going to cut our own paychecks and make sure that you're going to be taken care of.
Yeah. And the thing is, Ankit, in reality, we are a big service economy and we can do a lot of things in our house or away from people. We do not need that. There are certain industries which I've yet to figure out how they're going to come back anytime soon. One is the restaurant industry. There's no way they can configure the restaurants to come back. The other one really, and we start off our program that way, Southwest Airlines, but it's the airline industry because traditionally you get packed in like sardines to make the airlines profitable. And I don't know how they're going to make the airline industry.
We're going to have to get Iron Man suits or Darth Vader suits, and we're going to have to board. That's how we go to the airport, right?
Yeah, the airport. But there are serious challenges there.
To the suit.
Right. And I was talking to an engineer yesterday, and the financial services industry and the market being high doesn't really reflect what is going on here today. I'd like to check the market today because 22 million people. Which I know in India.
Lab suit here, okay. So I know.
Well, right now is today they have.
Get into right. You put your but I think if we make it like Iron Man, where it clips on front and back, and pop your
the U.S.
I think that what I spoke to a lot of restaurants in India. I mean, people who run the restaurant business. So they
Yeah.
have to tweak their menu, and they have to do a lot of changes and a lot of
Sure.
additions in
Oh,
terms of
you're
in terms of
going.
how they serve, in terms of how they pack, and they also trying to share their backside views on camera, so
Yeah,
that
it's going to
people
be
are confident to do it. And you know what happened yesterday? There was a pizza delivery guy. He found COVID positive, and then he delivered pizzas to a lot of people and a lot of families in Delhi. And all those people are quarantined now
Yeah.
for the reason well. But I'm surprised that people are still ordering all those foods because
I
I
am
don't know
too.
because people eat home.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a great Indian restaurant here in Raleigh, and I order once a week from them because the food's really good, and you can't get Indian restaurant food here, just
Yeah.
down the street. So there's some really good restaurants that I think the takeout model will work. But also, if they're going to go in the future, they need to isolate their rooms. It's going to be a real challenge for them. And so I see two industries being really challenged. The ones that are not challenged are the service industry, and frankly, even the educational industry. Today, there are 22 million people that are unemployed in the United States. Our workforce is only 94 million, even though we have 330 million people. Because remember, a lot of them are kids, they're not working, retirees aren't working, et cetera. So we're looking at probably over a 20% unemployment rate here. It's pretty drastic. But the real issue is that a lot of it can be done through the internet. Matter of fact, education can be done through the internet. So, but what you find out is a lot of people aren't familiar with doing that. And then the other day, they said that there's 12 million people in the United States have no access to the internet. So even if we bring the education online, a lot of people don't have access because here, which we found out talking to you, Ankit, the other day, internet is a lot more expensive here in the United States than it is in India. It's basically about $70 a month, and you're telling me it's $4 a month over there. I mean, that's a big difference.
I mean, we can't get internet without having to buy some sort of cable service. And,
yes.
I tried to launch the wireless back in 2002, maybe 2003, and people were afraid of it. Like I was going to pop up wireless towers in a matrix, and we had approval and ready to go, and people didn't want it. They were afraid of Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Now everybody has it, but everybody has hard connect to their house and then Wi-Fi into their house.
Well, out of 330 million people, most people do have access, but we still have 12 million that do not have access to the internet.
We don't deploy it properly. I'm telling you right now, we just don't deploy it properly.
You need leadership who has an initiative to do that. If we don't have leadership,
not initiative, the brain to do it.
Then it just doesn't get done.
There's plenty of people who go out there and go, hey, if you give me $5 million, I'll put fiber in your town, and you sign that contract and give them $5 million, and they dig a ditch and leave. So I mean.
It's one of the challenges, but as we are more of a service economy. The other day, speaking of service economy, we outsource about 50% of our IT work to India. So
always done that.
The United States, actually, all the IT work, I mean, half of it, and we knew that IBM had more than half of their workers are actually over in India. So there is apparently a big infrastructure of IT people over in India that support the IT, but IT is more of a service economy. In other words, to develop internet is again service. Financial services is big here. It's about 15 to 17% of our sector, and a lot of that is done on the internet. So there's a lot of sectors that will not be affected by this.
Insurance is a big sector. It doesn't really service you, but it's a big sector in the U.S. But they will deny you for everything but you pay them. And
it's a one-way street. So
they don't ever answer their phone when you need them. But
so there are a lot of sectors. A lot of sectors here that will not be affected, and the thing is, they have never moved to the work-at-home model. In other words, like in our office, because we manage pension funds over in Salt Lake, that some of our employees are working remotely, which I think is a safe way to do it because they can do a lot of the work remotely. The real problem is business owners don't trust their employees to work remotely because they're trying to measure the metrics of how much work they do. But what I found out is that if you do it, you can actually successfully work remotely. It's not impossible. So what we're doing is we're moving to a new normal over here. In the meantime, people are dying and people are getting infected and the rates are growing and you have to monitor it. We are going to also look at treatments. And I think this is where we're going to find step number 2, at least in the coronavirus, is treatments. Okay, we may not have a vaccine for 18 months. And so we're talking 2021 or maybe even 2022 for this vaccine. It takes a while to develop an efficient vaccine, but we may have efficient treatments that mitigate the possibility of death. In other words, people passing away through the coronavirus. And there were 2 of them, and I emailed them to you, Ankit and Kim. There's a couple of them that just hit, but these are not proven treatments. In other words, they haven't gone. In other words, they give it to one person recovers, or 2. You know, they haven't gone through.
Was it Dr. Markowitz that was on with us?
Yeah,
the basic, simple steroids and respiratory.
Oh, sure. Yeah, but again,
as well,
yeah,
because they take the inflammation out. And
okay, you're right. And all asthmatics are familiar with prednisone because prednisone. When I had to go to the hospital, I only had to go twice, mainly in my lifetime, so I was fairly lucky. But both times, what they did is they gave you albuterol and prednisone. That was it. Here it is, albuterol, prednisone. So the next time I got sick, I go, why am I going to the hospital? Because I have prednisone and albuterol here. I'll just take albuterol and prednisone, and that's what I did. So every time I got a virus, and it always goes in your lungs if you're asthmatic, that albuterol and prednisone are your first and second lines of defense. Now, what Dr. Moskowitz was saying, he says that asthmatics are all aware of this, and there's actually a low death rate among asthmatics in COVID-19. But let's imagine you're a non-asthmatic. You've never taken prednisone. You've never taken albuterol.
You never felt that pain.
You've never felt that pain. Okay, yeah, because you will actually know that your blood level is decreasing. Your blood oxygen level is decreasing. You actually can feel it. That what happens is you just don't know. You honestly just don't know what to do. So so what happens? Their lungs get super congested too late, and they pass away. And hey, our special guest, Indira, has joined us from. Is it New Delhi, Ankit? Mumbai. Okay, yes, right. The land of Bollywood.
Good evening, ma'am. Namaste.
Good evening. Namaste. Indira, can you hear us?
Namaste.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Good evening.
She's a bit frozen.
Yeah.
Audio.
And Kit, she's a little bit frozen. It might be because of all the Bollywood movies that are being blasted through Mumbai, right now, because they're all online. Hey, and they eat up a lot of bandwidth. I went off the air twice here. Twice. My internet just shuts down because of the internet usage.
Actually, it's because they can't handle Nick. Nick's got 3
computers
going on at one time.
There's an article on the internet today that a lot of offices are closed, and that's why the internet consumption is little low as compared to the regular days.
There she is.
Now, but the problem is the maintenance issue.
Right. There we go. Namaste. All right. Indira, can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Hello.
Oh, we can hear you. Good.
Hello.
Okay.
You can hear us, doctor? Good evening.
I think we are facing some technical difficulties with.
I think we are.
So I'll try to coordinate with Dr. Indira, and in the meantime, I think Willie, what do you have for us?
Willie, share with us.
Willie, what's going on in Down Under?
Australia?
You got to end it with mate when you talk to
Mike.
You have to always tell because this way you can communicate with Willie Hill.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning there, right?
I know. So you always go, what's happening down under, mate?
All right, and there's Sasha. Namaste.
Oh, Willie, you got to turn on your speaker. Willie.
Let me get Willie turned on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, Willie.
Got it.
Willie, what's happening down under, mate?
Good day, mate.
Good night. Mike.
Just looking at the numbers, we've like I said yesterday, we're starting to it's the beginning of a flat line. It's not completely flat, but it's the beginning. So the total death is 63. And that's been for the last 2 days. We've had 63, so really good numbers. Today I went out because I needed to get some hardware stuff for home, fixing the stuff in the kitchen, just doing some repairs in the kitchen. And I was amazed at the number of elderly people out there just going around. And I'm saying, wow, if anybody that is at risk, that's the elderly, like 60 plus, 70 plus. And they're out there by numbers, and both the husband and the wives. And I was just flabbergasted that people would given I don't know the situation. Okay, I'm going to admit that I don't know the situation. They're probably doing that, but I was just worried at the number of elderly people being out there and with the virus out there. You know, I at that age I would just stay home and ask my son, "Hey, just do the shopping for me and drop it by when in your way home," or ask the kids to do that. But going out and doing it on your own, it's a risk. But hey, so yeah, that's a sad thing I'm seeing. Are we extending the lockdown for another 2 weeks into mid-May? Schools have extended the lockdown also, and yeah, that's what's happening at the moment.
By that way, that some of it sounds good. Only 63 people. That's
Yes.
not very much, because I think we have close to 2,000 a day here.
Yes.
Maybe that just in New York City alone. It's pretty bad here. So 63 is not bad. Now, when they talk about elderly over 60, they're talking about people like me. So every time I hear elderly over 60, you're talking about moi, baby. I don't see elderly. So, I go, these elderly people over 60.
No.
Okay, I think our guest has made it again. I don't know what happened.
Gareth on. Okay, well, let's see if we can
All
be
right, let's see if we can get her back.
सब तैयार है ना अभी तो
I think Ankit's
I'm
working.
still working on it.
Okay,
So,
let's move to Canada and Mr. Alexander.
Sasha, how are you doing?
Sasha.
Wow. Okay, so hold
Okay.
on.
Well,
Sasha,
good
you're
morning.
so dressed up today. What's the special occasion?
Well, special occasion, I will have not one, but two interviews with grandmasters who are going to play for us on Saturday. And it beats if I would have two billionaires, because as Nick already calculated, there are many more billionaires in this world than grandmasters.
That is true. I'm not kidding.
I
can-
just want to say you look dashing.
Alexander, it's
Yeah.
easier to get billionaires on IBM TV than grandmasters, because there are more
How is it
billionaires.
possible, Nick? Think
We're
about
going to
it.
have more chess grandmasters on because I like the way Sasha dresses for the.
Yeah. So now
Think
he's
about it,
dressing up
Nick.
because we've got grandmasters who are going to be sitting on our show. Yeah.
Nick, but explain, why in a world almost any idiot can become a billionaire, and yet no billionaire can become a grandmaster?
You heard what he said.
easy.
You heard what
Okay,
he
I mean, I hate to tell you guys, it's actually easier to be a billionaire than it is to be a grandmaster.
It is.
Because okay, let's go look at it. First of all, as you know, Alexander, to become a grandmaster, you really have to develop while you're young. In other words, you only have a certain amount of time. It's like being a top tennis star or a top basketball star. You have to do this in elementary school, middle school. I mean, today, really young and be really good by the time you hit high school. They showed the game of the century, which is Bobby Fischer versus Donald Byrne. Well, I didn't know about the game because Mike Cofer sent it. He was 13 years old when he played this brilliancy. I mean, the guy was
Incredible.
good, incredible at age 13. And so by the time you hit age, your 20s and certainly by your 30s, you're washed up. I hate to say it, in chess, and frankly, for the most part in tennis, but not so much today, you're basically washed up. In other words, if you haven't made it by the time you're in your 20s, you ain't going to make it at chess. Now,
there's no hope for me. Even if Sasha trains me, there's no hope. Like,
you're
we're going to be doing this training.
Listen, if you want to become a billionaire, you could actually do that in your 50s and 60s. A guy named Sam Walton started Walmart store when he was in his 60s. Okay, a lot of people don't know that. He was somewhere like 61 or 62, and he started Walmart. And his horizon is 20 years. So by the time he's 85, or even earlier than that, he was worth over $1 billion. So the sad part, it's actually easier to become a billionaire than become a chess grandmaster. So we have about 1,500 chess grandmasters in the world. We have 2,400 billionaires. It just is what it is.
It's not so bad. If you failed to become a grandmaster, so just go and become a billionaire, okay?
Exactly. Well, there's two guys. Okay, listen. There are two guys who've done that. One, Peter Thiel. Now, a lot of people here are familiar with him. He created a company called PayPal. And Peter Thiel actually went to law school. Then after law school, he tried his deal at chess, became a chess master. He's actually a pretty strong player. But becoming a chess grandmaster didn't work for Peter. So he founded PayPal and became a multi-billionaire, mainly not because of PayPal, but his investments and other things like Facebook and YouTube and things like that. The other one was who's been on our show, Alan Trefler. Alan won the World Open and chess became a master, but after receiving a paltry, and even tells us on the thing, $2,200, he started Pegasystems and became a billionaire through his company Pegasystems. Easier for him to become a billionaire, both these people, than to become a chess grandmaster. It's just it's so hard. And as you know, Sasha, they don't give away the title. It's not like, hey, I'm here, give me a chess grand. No, they make you jump through. Basically you've got to beat other grandmasters, become a grandmaster.
That's two qualifications you need, and you need both. Number one, you have to comply and get, I think, 3 grandmasters norms in at least grandmaster style tournament. And then your racing has to be over 2550, I believe.
I know.
Well, that's not so difficult, 2550.
Yeah, but the grandmaster.
Well, who am I to say? We'll talk today to experts who are over 2550, so they will tell us how easy or how difficult it is.
Right.
Okay, coming back to Canada. Listen, I was almost devastated yesterday because what I saw a program. We have famous Monk debates. Maybe you've seen it sometimes. It's a high quality programs. They debate on different topics. Peter Monk, deceased now, he was a multi-billionaire and he was at the power of what it is now Barrick Gold Corporation. Anyway, but a very curious mind, very highly educated man, nothing but praise. Okay. So yesterday was a 1-hour interview with Fareed Zakaria, of course, known to you. And then there was one lady, Canadian political commentator, which I forgot her name, but I've seen her on a few programs before. So the question was, as we often discuss, what's next? But on this occasion, it wasn't what's next economically, how people will get back to work and so on. It was more on international relationships, and where Canada's place in the future world of politics. And both of them independently, because Fareed Zakaria had 1 hour and he just talked about his views, and then she had an hour, and but their views were very similar in what Canada will have to fight for its place in the new world, which will become once coronavirus is over, if it will ever be over, but it will, hopefully. And in that new paradigm, Canada has to look anew at all its current, previous, and of course future relationships. So the bigger relationship Canada always had with the United States, and there were two very friendly countries and shared views. It hasn't been the case in the last 3 years. And obviously, present president of United States has a great chance to win it again. So it will be another 4 years of more or less the same situation, or maybe even worse, because if he is not in a good mood, he will put army on the Canadian border, and and he will ask Canadians to stay in line to get visas to go to travel to U.S. or so on. That's a reality. It can happen, and just because of the will of one man. So, but even if it wouldn't be so drastic threat, still Canada probably has much better chances not only to survive but to succeed to fostering the relationship with European countries. For example, with UK, Canada has very good relationship, always had. France, historically, because Quebec obviously is a French-speaking province, and that's going for granted. And all European Union, although they're quite pessimistic about the European Union because of what's happened lately in Hungary and a few other countries and so on. So European Union most likely also will not be the same. Probably it will cut its membership drastically, but whatever will remain will become strong, and I think finally they will have unified laws, immigration system, maybe even army, not to depend on NATO so much. So that's their view. And special case, China. What they're saying is that as much as China perceived very negatively in the world, especially now with coronavirus, and even before that, there is one positive thing about China, that if you develop a relationship, let's say this technology company of China or any others, let's say, you're trading with China. Because China is controlled by Communist Party, and Communist Party is controlled by one man, so it's like in old Russia. Actually, Mr. Trump traveled to Russia first time in 1987, still when Soviet Union was alive, because he knew that once he would get a good deal with the Russian top government officials, he's got it. He doesn't need to deal with anybody else. There was one decision maker. So today in China, it's about the same thing. So if you do a deal with, say, China's Huawei company, for example, it's controlled right on the very top by Chairman Xi. So if you got acceptable deal, which is beneficial for both your country and Chinese company or China itself, then you have something what could last for 5-10 years or much longer. Whereas in US, basically, when people talk about great technological power of the United States, you have to wonder what people mean by that, because all technological power is based with a few companies from Microsoft to Amazon and to Google and others, because they have that immense power, not US government. So all what US government can, they can raise their taxes and so on and make their life miserable. But
No, and
but
they
US
did
is not going to
it
win.
today too. They raise our taxes to make our life miserable. You're
Right.
right.
So technologically, US is not going to benefit from it. So all progress what US companies are making, they're making independently from US government. US government has nothing to do with their success. So if Canada can deal with these high-tech companies without US government, that's fine. And that's what's happening now anyway. And I'm pretty sure it will happen in the future as well. So then, what goods can Canada has, like tangible goods, to have from U.S. government? From U.S. companies, a different story, but from U.S. government, it's very unclear. It has to be explained, clarified, and follow up on it. It's at the moment, if we are looking in a world which will emerge in the next year or two or longer, that's basically what they present. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, the world is a big place, and I think in the United States, since we are the world's largest economy, but what we don't do is recognize the rest of the world, which is kind of weird, because if you Google, which knows everything, we only represent 15.2% of the world's economy. Well, that's only 15.2%. So where's the other 85?
I
It used
think
to
we
be
have our
25. It used to be 25 not long ago.
Yeah. So the thing is, what happens is we're going to have to ultimately recognize the rest of the world. Eventually, it's going to take. Oh well, Indira is back on, so hopefully we can.
I was getting ready to introduce her, but namaste. Ankit, why don't you introduce our special guest from India?
Yes, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Namaste. Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yes.
Indra?
Can you hear us, ma'am?
Yeah, but it is vibrating very badly, your sound.
Okay, but we can hear you pretty good now.
We can hear you pretty well.
Yes.
We hear you very well.
If you lower down your volume,
voice is so vibrating, I'm unable.
Let's see if I can fix that.
if you can lower down your volume, hands-free volume, I think it will be easier.
Actually, it sounds fine.
Oh my
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, maybe it's better now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Better. Okay.
So, good evening, ma'am, and welcome to our show, IBM TV. And honored to have you on the show. And Dr. Indira Hinduja, and she's a Padma Shri awardee, and she's one of the senior.
Ankit, your voice is so vibrating. I cannot catch a single word from your talk.
Vibration can be because of
Vibration can be because of the higher volume of the hands-free.
So can you, how about now?
Is
How about
that you can write it or show me the properly?
How about now? Can you hear
Your
it now?
sound is very. I really don't know.
Hold
Am I
on.
audible?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you clearly.
The problem is she won't be able to hear us and our question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So with
Let
us
me-
today, we have the honorary gynecologist, Dr. Indra Hinduja. And I don't mean to jump on what you're doing, Ankit. I just want the world to know who she is. As a woman, this is very important to me because, you know, she is the reason why life continues to prosper among women who have trouble having children, or and she was responsible for the first in vitro fertilization in India, and so to me that's just an amazing thing to meet a woman like you. So welcome to IBM TV.
Ankit, can you just repeat what she is saying? Let me see if I can hear some words from you.
Okay, Ankit.
So, ma'am, we are welcoming you on IBM TV, and we
I
are
think I'm
honored that you
wasting
are.
your time.
I think we're waiting.
No, but we can clearly hear you. So, Kim, let me fix up one more time. In the meantime, I think Billy and Sasha can join you, and then we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
All right. We'll
You're
work
going
on
to go back and fix her. Okay. All right. So, you know, folks, we see this happening in all the networks right now because people are filming from their homes. Sometimes the internet connections are not everything we need because all the bandwidth is being used. I've worked in that industry for years. And, you know, if you're on fiber, you're still going to maybe have some problems, even though fiber was supposed to eliminate that bandwidth problem. But, you know, and we have Rakesh. Namaste.
Right.
Oh, hi.
Right.
Hello.
Hello.
Should we get our report from Hong Kong since Rakesh?
Yes, please. Can we get a report from Hong Kong?
We got a report from Canada and Australia, but we haven't got a report from Hong Kong. What's going on in Hong Kong, Rakesh?
Hong Kong's doing pretty well. We do have the people coming in from overseas returning to Hong Kong, adding to a few cases, but no more deaths. So I think it's pretty much under control. I see restaurants returning to near normal.
That's impressive. How are they doing it?
So, can you explain what
how
near
do you do the
normal
restaurants?
means? What is near normal?
We still have the rule where you have a maximum of 4 people per table. But most restaurants keep it to 2 people per table. So if you have a family of 4, when I went about a couple of weeks ago, there was a family of 4 and of 5, and they sat at 2 separate tables, but just adjacent tables. So that's there. In the restaurant, you don't wear your mask so you can eat, but your temperature is measured with the little sort of gun-like thing, and it shows you a green sign, and then you pretty much have your meal and move along. So I went to the city today, and everybody was just like normal. We keep a bit of distance. We all wear masks, and I went and saw my doctor because I'm a diabetic. I need to get my meds. So she was wearing a mask during the consultation. She also wears a sort of a very transparent glass, sort of like goggles, but completely transparent, so you can see the entire face. It doesn't appear like a mask or any kind of obstruction. The receptionist, we don't even wear masks.
Mhm.
So but all of us as patients, out of respect for them and for their safety, we wear masks. Everybody wears masks, even those who accompany. It's pretty much you get used to that as the new normal. In the train, we have, all of us had masks. I don't use the escalators because it's more crowded and I need to lose weight. so I take the stairs, and life's pretty cool. I mean, I've really not, business is not affected. Businesses, people who are distributing, things on the street, little pamphlets, publicity, they're back on. And I think it's pretty nicely managed. There's no panic, no. Shops are operational. Supermarkets are operational. We keep a little bit of distance, but there's no restriction. Lifts are managed so that there are about 5 people at most in a lift, depending on the size of the lift. If it's a smaller lift, there are fewer people. And it's, I would say, a pretty measured response to the virus without. Yes, Sasha? Any questions?
You got to turn
Your
on your
mic.
mic, Sasha. Mic.
Oh wait, I was testing because before when she was when our guest said she was hearing some noise, I was testing to see.
Okay, now you
Okay.
okay, Sasha.
Okay,
So go
I'm
ahead,
okay now.
Sasha. Sorry
I
about
have
that.
one question to you, because you were very eloquent about explaining how everything starts to open, especially restaurants. Now, just about an hour ago, I've heard a comment from analyst, well-known analyst on CNBC. Nick probably knows Jim Cramer. And he was talking about opening restaurants, and he made analysis that to open a restaurant, let's say in a place like New York, they would have to charge $2,000 per meal to make any sense of opening a restaurant. How much people are paying in Hong Kong for their meals?
Oh, they're paying just the same. No difference.
Really?
Really, no.
We don't have to go crazy insane.
If you don't have the tipping thing, I think it makes it so much more useful, because eventually the customer is tipping, and it's. I personally don't like to tip. I'd rather you just charge me and you pay your staff well, so that they're happy. Right. They know what they're getting in a month, rather than leaving it to the tender mercies of customers. I do not like the habit of tipping.
No, I meant $2,000 before tip.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's-
God.
Kramer's out of his skull.
That's crazy. That's
That's
not
crazy. Yeah, but
that's
my
not
question is, if you go into a restaurant, you're eating. How do you eat when you have a mask on?
No, you take off the
No,
mask
you
and
take
put it
your
in.
mask off. Your
We
med-
have little
temperature's
little
measured.
folders. We have little folders where you can put your mask in. You know, it's just like they take a folder like this, and they just snip off a piece of it, which
Like the
fits your
airline
mask.
throw up folder.
And these are the
Yeah,
kinds of masks we wear. You know, we don't wear any,
I like this one.
like Star Trooper kind of masks. We just wear these simple masks like that. It's an N95 mask.
That's what I have. I have
And
an N95.
yeah, it's an N95 mask. There is another higher grade called N99, but we don't think we need that. We just wear this thing. This was actually imported by my wife from Germany. I'm sure the Germans want it back in brand new condition. Now.
Yeah, but you've got
So yeah,
Doctor,
we bought
today
we
they have
brought
the
in we also brought in masks from India. Very good masks, equally good quality. So at that time we were short of masks, so we just got it from everywhere we could, and we use it daily. Now they're available here in Hong Kong, so we use it daily, and I think because the city is not as crowded, it's only 7 million, but Bombay is about 21 million. And I've lived in Bombay, I lived in Delhi, Madras. So I understand. Madras is about the same size in terms of same order of magnitude as Hong Kong. And so I think Madras can certainly get started in the same way as Hong Kong, especially because it's quite hot. Delhi, by now, should be pretty hot. So, and Mumbai was, it hardly has a winter. So,
Nick, not everybody took, they took extreme measures, but they used common sense,
yes.
which, something we lack, I guess, in the U.S. is that common sense factor, but they were more transparent to their people about what the
because you have such a litigious culture. If you
Right.
did not have such a litigious culture and courts, decided that they don't, I'm sorry, Nick, I understand it's your business.
True. It's true.
But because you have such a litigious culture, you tend to take extreme measures and common sense goes out the window.
Oh, that might be true. But we do have some common sense who just joined us, Dr. Indra.
Yes, I know everybody in India knows of her. She's world famous.
Yeah, she is
Right.
world famous for her in vitro fertilization. She is an honorary gynecologist. She's won the Lifetime Award of, I guess it's the Padma Shri Award. Her work and efforts have been endless to, make sure that we can continue giving life. And I just think it's fabulous that you have done this. And here we are at a point in our lives where life is being taken away from us massively fast. The COVID-19 has taken away so many lives. And you work so hard at making sure that we can continue making life. But can you welcome to IBM TV, and thank you for your patience.
Now, Ankit, you can start the thing. We can ask the question from Dr. Hinduja.
Okay.
Yes.
So I would like to ask, how has COVID-19 been putting an effect or any kind of hold on the IVF treatments or the developments? Can she hear us?
Can you hear?
I wasn't very clearly audible, but I can only tell you that at present we should not even think of IVF, because now, of course, the appending this big enemy, which is really trying to very slowly, even though is increasing in our country. The women who are already on IVF treatment, those we have already finished. Unfortunately, all the embryos are being before it really had a very bad attack. Now, of course, we are not enrolling, and I don't think anybody should enroll the patient because it does require the resources, the available doctors, the treatment. Our priority at present is control the disease, whatever is, although slowly, is spreading. And at present, the treatment of infertility, especially IVF, we have to withhold. But there has to be proper understanding between the doctor and the patient. So it is our prime duty explain the patient that why should they postpone the treatment. The reason is first most important, whole country is under lockdown. Availability of the doctor as well as they approaching the doctors and coming to the clinic on and off for the treatment will be difficult. And also, we really do not know yet for authentic publication whether it will have any effect on the patient, on the receptivity of the uterus, on the embryo, or the future pregnancy. So, this one has to make our patient consider. Although so far, whatever publications we have got, they all have come from China. Well, we all have to think how much we have to trust and how much we have to. There's a lot more work required to understand the pathology and its after effect before we should offer this. I would like to say one, very recently I on the net, which I already shared with Rajkumar, there is a publication that it might affect even the embryo because they have found two receptors on the embryo after the egg and the sperm have met and fertilized the embryo. So if that is going to affect on that, understanding all that, more work is required to be done about it, and then only one should have it. The treatment should.
Wow.
Well, I really don't know whether your question which you put forward, it was partly audible, whether I was relevant to answer that. But I am not encouraging my patient to start the new cases at present until we really not only control the spread of this COVID-19 disease, and also we should have more scientific information about the after effect for those, especially women who are already affected and they are recovered, and how do we go about?
How do we go about that? Yes. I mean, that's
The next question came. There is a next question from the viewers was that they want to pursue IVF or other fertility medical treatment. Should they delay care during the COVID-19 pandemic if there is a risk that my cycle could be cancelled, or if proceed with the treatment now?
Are you trying to say that the cycle which is ongoing, or they should start the new? I don't know whether
Cycle which is ongoing. Cycle which is ongoing.
the cycle.
If the
So
cycle is
if
in the
my
beginning,
cycle could be canceled, should I proceed with the treatment anyway?
well, if the woman is
You
in
can
the
say
beginning
you
of
can,
the cycle, probably I will advise them to discontinue it because she hasn't lost much. But if we have almost reached to the end where the woman is closer to the egg collection, then definitely one has to inform her that coming and going, plus the egg collection, plus the fertilization, and this. And we really don't know whether she is in a asymptomatic case, which she is going to develop the active disease later, or whether she is in contact with somebody. So embryo transfer will be difficult. And if we are going to transfer, we had to make the arrangement to transfer those, freeze those embryos, and in a separate environment, keeping them separate from the embryos till we understand the pathophysiology of these embryos at the time of the embryo transfer. We cannot mix it. So we have to have the proper arrangement to freeze, which might take longer time. But the patient should all know all the after effects of this. And with the proper consent, with the proper information, one can do. However, one should weigh the advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantages, while we are taking the treatment, we are occupying the operation theater, we are using the culture room, we are calling our nurses for that, we are calling our embryologists and beg uh, paraphernalia for this. In other words, we are also exposing them for this repeated visit to the clinic to action. So this one has to weigh its advantages as well as disadvantages. But at that stage, if it is unavoidable, probably we will do that with the proper precautions. And embryos have to be separately frozen away from the earlier frozen reservoir embryos so that they would never come in contact, not even in the same room. But best will be to postpone the cycle.
Well, yes. How safe are hospitals?
And there is a question. One, whether we should freeze the egg or whether we freeze the embryo. However, the eggs are not affected, which has been shown by some of the publications, which are not very large. So, whether we should freeze the eggs or after fertilization, it is another one query. So, upon that, I would certainly try to freeze the egg rather than embryo after fertilization and fertilize them later when the proper environment is there.
Is there and I know Nick's got a question, but I wanted to know, is there a time limit for those eggs in the freezers that I need to be concerned about as a woman? When, you know, because we don't know how long COVID-19 is going to last, and if you're freezing these, what is the time limit for that?
I'm sorry, I have to ask you to repeat the question because your voice is vibrating.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's see, maybe if I go singular. So I'm curious because you're talking about that we can freeze everything, but we're talking about COVID-19. We don't know how long this is going to be in effect. Is there a time limitation to freezing the eggs and everything? Is there a time limitation?
How
long can we freeze? Let's see.
Well, it will be probably, maybe, I'm not sure how long in the period time, but until we know that whole environment is clear of this deadly environment and everything is clear and it is safe for everybody and we have adequate information, scientific information, published data all over the world, till then I would say we should postpone the thing. And if
I
it
think
is
you're
essential,
absolutely right. Nick has a question. Can we get Nick back on? Nick has a question. I think it's a pretty easy to understand question. Hi, Nick.
Yeah. How safe are the hospitals right now because of COVID-19?
mm-hmm. I can't hear you.
How safe are the hospitals?
How safe?
Mm-hmm.
Are the hospitals?
At present, I would say because we are about without any information, at present, I would say it is not safe. But once we have studied adequately, and especially what we were, of course, trying to study the endometrium, and if the anything to say whether it affects, although it has been proved that after the delivery of the woman who is already suffering from the disease, she is suffering, and in case it has not been transmitted to the baby, not even in the cord, not even in the amniotic fluid, and not even in a vaginal discharge, that is a different such issue. But after that, if we are transferring the woman who is still just recovering and no adequate antibodies are not being formed, probably it will be difficult to transfer, difficult to go ahead. So until we are 100% sure that we are not going to harm her or her fetus, we should not go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I found this picture. I'm going to share it with you. After, when a woman has a baby, this is a little offbeat, I'm sure, but this picture has just impacted me greatly. That we're having to take extra measures for our babies now, and they're actually putting a shield over the baby after they're born. Um, is this happening in India as well? Because we've gone through a lot of in vitro. I've worked very hard to have this baby, but now we're having to take these extra measures. Are they doing this in India?
Well,
It's a
yeah,
beautiful. I think the face mask, what they did is beautiful, but we're having to take new measures with COVID-19. I was just wondering if the hospitals in India were doing this. Stop. So, can we try water delivery?
although, see, and
Is water delivery safer?
over here, isolation of the baby after the delivery is very essential.
Right.
Although there are very few babies which are being affected, as such, little infection, upper respiratory tract infection may be common if the delivery is not in the proper environment and the care. But whether it's to taking in care, thinking that it can affect the baby, all the precautions should be taken. Most important, that isolation of the baby, proper care of the baby, and while the patient is breastfeeding the baby, the proper precautions of the mother, and mother should take a proper precautions like wearing the mask. If there is a proper shield, she can take it, and she should not, and if absolutely necessary, then you breastfeed, or you can give the express blood milk to the baby for initial phases till if she has come and healthy and trying to feed. Anyway, breastfeeding is not contraindicated, but proper precautions have to be taken. In India also, we have lost two babies so far what I know, and therefore every patient should be considered as a positive patient and take such a precautions during the delivery as well as during handling the baby and breastfeeding the baby. All the instructions to the mother have to be given, and once the baby and all is proved that everything is okay, then of course the baby should be dealt the way the normal babies can be done. So in
Wow.
every patient who delivers, we should always consider as if she is a positive patient. And all the precautions have to be taken, have to be taken, have to be taken.
So 2 babies have been lost because of COVID-19.
Sorry?
2 babies. You said 2 babies have been lost because of COVID-19.
Yeah, we had, but it was not very definite whether it was COVID positive or it was a common pneumonia. But it has shown that 2 babies have all in the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they tell us that it's more for older people. You would not think of a child.
Yeah. Maybe the information we'll get soon.
We need to learn more.
And
We need to learn more because we don't know. It's better to be safe than sorry,
Yeah.
like you're saying. Be safe, right? If you haven't done it yet,
Yep.
don't wait until. But it's better to be safe than take a risk at this point because we don't know enough.
Oh.
We don't know. So, what are some of the steps that women can do to avoid pregnancy during this COVID-19 pandemic? What are some of the things we can do to prevent pregnancy?
It's not audible properly.
Right. Okay, but to prevent pregnancy, what are some
I
of
wish
the
audio visual was like.
Okay, hold on. Let me chat with you for a second. To prevent pregnancy during COVID-19. Social distancing should prevent pregnancy, right? We think that social, can she see the chat, and Kit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think ma'am is operating from mobile phone, so I'm not sure whether she'll be able to watch the chat. But ma'am, can you hear us now?
We could
Okay.
also,
Would you just repeat your question again?
to prevent pregnancy during COVID-19, what do you recommend?
I think there is some technical problem, and then I think the
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Also next time what we could do is if she has a phone and a computer, or the guest has a phone and a computer, we can Skype. We can
Yeah.
do a voice by phone. There's ways around these technical issues. We could do voice by phone, which would be clear, and we could still talk and hear
But
each other.
I think the problem is that right now, because of lockdown, we can't go to anyone's place and then do and plan those fixation things.
Right.
We try to troubleshoot it from our home.
Everybody is sitting at a different location. In the morning, we tried to connect the thing, and everything was working perfectly okay.
Right.
Somehow you can say the net connection, or you can say some other problem is there. That's why it has not come. Again, she has come. I'll just ask the question.
Okay, thank you.
You can hear us, Doctor? Can you hear it, Doctor?
So, Kimberly, in India, when we respect to our doctors and we say Dr. Sahab and Dr. Sir and all those things. So that's what Rajkumar Jainji is, conveying that because we respect so much to all our doctors, that's why they use Sahab after that.
They use a what?
Sahab. It's like
Sahab.
sir.
Okay, Dr. Sahab. Okay.
Dr. Sahab. Yeah.
Sahab.
Next,
Okay.
if I explain, it is an honor for us that Dr. Hinduja is there on live.
Yeah.
Because she is very, very choosy to appear on the TV shows. And this is only my request. And then Ankit has told it that we want somebody from the gynec side who can explain all the things about the COVID-19.
Yeah.
And what is the contribution and dedication of her in this industry, in this you can say in this site is really remarkable.
Yeah.
Can you hear it, Doctor?
Thank you. it's an honor that you are still there with us, and then still
Yes,
because of
I
facing
am
technical
I'm so honored.
she's trying, so that's what the warrior is. She's still trying to come back after. I mean, facing a lot of technical difficulties.
What we're talking about is continued life. I don't think people.
Okay, what we can do is, we have a lot of questions for Dr. Indira
Yeah, I mean,
Hinduja.
well, because
Ask those questions.
Nice part of the Kim, she is bachelor.
so we're talking about, right now we're dealing with death. We're dealing with a lot of death, but we have to continue life. And what she does is she helps women continue with life. I had issues being able to have children. So
Yeah.
I respect everything that she's doing, but we have to continue this to do life. But what she's sharing with us is let's put it on hold. Let's be patient. Let's protect ourselves and make sure we're very healthy. She has shared with us some concerns about when we're delivering babies during this COVID-19 period. But let's learn more before we bring more children in. Let's bring the children we have coming. Let's make it safe as possible. But what she's sharing with us is very important because life has to continue. And these are very delicate moments in life. Very delicate. I almost cried when she told me 2 babies died.
Yeah.
I mean, I cry when 2 babies die, whether it's COVID or not, because you wait 9 months for this moment to happen, and we've got so much uncertainty right now that it's very scary.
I-
I
Kim, a lot of our viewers are saying that
Kim,
they are able to hear us, and that's what the viewers.
I'll share you one. I'll share you one secret thoughts, secret thing that Dr. Hinduja, during her career of last 55 years in this profession, she has not done a single MTP. That is called the medical termination of pregnancy. She has not aborted any child. That was his rule. Ki in case if you conceive any child, we will bring to the child to here, and we will get it survived. That is the beauty of the thing, and we should salute that lady who has devoted that much thing to the nation.
I salute. Because it's a
We will, we
difficult
will
task.
ask her to we will ask her to come some other time when all this peripheral will be
Oh,
okay.
she can come talk and
Again,
have coffee with me anytime. And when this is over with, we'll come over there and we will have a celebration of life. Because her research and studies are very near and dear to my heart. I know so many women who have done IVF, and but the thing is our concern isn't about getting women pregnant right now. It's about bringing babies into a world that's safe. And I love her message. I love her message of let's just be safe right now, right? Let's work with what we have, but wait, be patient. And that's hard for a lot of people to do because you want to get your life going. And but welcome again. Thank you so much for continuously trying and working with us. Your message is very important to the world about becoming pregnant, about what it takes to become pregnant. What you have done for women to help us become pregnant is amazing, and I personally want to thank you. But what I'd like to ask is the most important question is that all too often we're not careful and we might get pregnant. How do we prevent pregnancy during this time period and wait? You're getting a lot of hellos, by the way. So, I don't get that many hellos. She's a very
we would like to watch Dr. Hinduja on our IBM TV, and that's what they are saying. Hello, hi, we are there.
We're here. So,
Hi.
hi. Yeah, you're getting a lot of hellos. She's so pretty. But can you give a message for how we prevent pregnancies? Except for social distancing should work, right? Can we text her a message? Because I think that's very, very important.
I'll just ask, I just text it so that she can just see the thing and give the message.
Okay.
So, Kim, would you like to share about your story to everyone?
Oh, I got a story. I always have stories, don't I? I always have a story for something. God has blessed me with a
Kim, the storyteller.
Yeah, I got stories for everything. God's given me quite an interesting life. I was unable to become pregnant. My doctors told me never. I would never be, but they never explained why. And I guess I never asked. I just accepted that as God's way, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't fight it. I didn't go look for IVF. I just said, if God wants me to be pregnant, I'll get pregnant. But I was told that I would never get pregnant. And we had taken in 2 boys, teenagers, and got them through life and built our retirement home. We literally built a retirement home. Like, we're very young, but we're like, okay, no more kids. And I really didn't think about adopting because I took in every child around me became my child. And so we were on our way to vacation, and I had an appendicitis attack, and they rushed me to the hospital, and my brother-in-law had just passed away, and so we had stopped to visit my sister-in-law, when they rushed me to the hospital, the doctor that walked into the emergency room happened to be her husband's doctor when he was sick and dying, and so we knew him. And he goes, "Prep her now, get her in now. We're going to remove the appendix." And apparently, while they're putting me under, I tend to be chatty, and I kept talking about how I always wanted to have a baby. I don't know why I was talking about that, so he removed my appendix and did what doctors do, I guess. But, you don't expect a doctor to go in and fix anything. But what he did was he temporarily fixed me so I could get pregnant if I wanted to. And he waited for me to wake up. And when I woke up, he leaned over and he whispered in my ear, "You have a very short period of time, but I fixed you so that you could go get pregnant." And I did. I got pregnant. And I didn't believe it. When I wasn't feeling good, and I finally went to go see my other doctor, my OBGYN, that I've known for 25 years. It seemed like I've known him for my whole life. And he told me, he started crying. He goes, "I don't believe this. You're pregnant." Because I didn't tell him. I just told him my appendix was removed. I didn't tell him that the doctor did anything. I didn't want to have hope, right? I didn't want to break my heart if nothing happened. So that's my story about, my sister tried the IVF. She had problems getting pregnant, but they did something different. She ended up finding a different carrier, and she was able to have her baby that way. So technology has changed so much where you can end up having your own baby and somebody else can carry it for you, which is kind of fun watching that whole experience. When I watched my sister suffer so many times trying to have a baby and she lost her baby, it broke my heart every time. And I never know the right things to say, but she found a way. Thanks to science and thanks to people like our very special friend who keeps trying to come on. But that's my story. I always have a story, don't I? God blessed me with a beautiful boy. And, I thank him every day for that experience. It was a God-given experience. I had to lose an appendix to get it. But he tells the people, yeah, she went to that hospital. So another girl that we knew one time was in Greensboro, and she went to the hospital. And he goes, "Hey, be careful. My mom went there and lost her appendix and got me." So she broke her leg, and he goes, "Be careful, you might come home with a baby." But science and medical science, especially, they come up with some of the most amazing things. And to me, what she does with IVF is she gives people more than hope. Right, like Raj was saying, that she's never aborted a child. So she gives people more than hope. She gives you a child, and to me, that's the greatest gift in life. Well, life, right? And there are so many people out there who cannot have children. And I'm just going to say, adopting, taking in foster children, that's a wonderful way. It really is. I accepted that as my only thing. That was going to be the only children that I had were teenagers that came in my life. But she has won a lifetime award, right? I mean, how great is that? That to me is better than a Nobel Prize, because she gives life. And welcome again. So I would say Dr. Indra Sahab, right?
Dr. Sahab.
Dr. Sahab. Okay. Dr. Sahab.
Ma'am, can you hear us now?
Can you hear them? Hello.
Are we trying to cell phone?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
इनको
बिल्कुल अच्छी तरह से सुन सकती हूँ.
See?
आपको ही सुन सकती हूँ.
now audio is there.
Boy, I
You
like
can ask questions and Ma'am will answer. So what we'll do is you can ask questions.
I can only talk to you. That's all.
I love her spirit. She just doesn't give up, does she?
I think now there's a problem with Raj Uncle's camera, and he froze down. So that's how the technology is.
So, but I love her spirit. She doesn't give up. What?
Yeah.
That's why she's successful. I can't imagine when she first started.
Can you listen it?
Back in 1980.
हाँ बोलिए.
एक सेकंड मैं वापस से इनको ज्वाइन कर रहा हूँ. यस मेरे इस पर प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है थोड़ा सा. आपको मतलब आपकी आवाज हमको आ रही है बराबर डॉक्टर साहब?
अभी ये जो आप बोल रहे हो वो बहुत अच्छी तरह से आ रही है. I can only see her lip movements.
I need to learn sign language.
Uncle, you can just write the message so that accordingly we'll be able to answer it.
So I have shared the questions with you. You can ask questions and then ma'am will reply and we are able to hear everything.
They have sent the question. I will just repeat the question.
मेरे को निकाल दो मेरे ख्याल से. I don't think I am able to answer. I must go to the studio or something like that. It may be that something is wrong with my internet.
Okay, then you can quit also.
Sorry?
You can quit.
Okay. Fine. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. So we would love to host you again whenever we have a good connection. And thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Better luck next time.
Thank you, ma'am.
I love her spirit. I love her spirit. She just doesn't give up.
Before that, I will definitely check my internet.
So this is what it takes to be successful,
Maybe
right?
my internet is not working.
So I think
Okay.
lots of applause for Dr. Shah that he joined us and he has done a tremendous job for us. Thank you very much and thanks for all your blessings. We would love to host you again.
She doesn't give up.
Sure.
This is why she's so successful.
All to you.
Yeah.
Best of luck to all of you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
And
you.
thanks very much for taking me. Unfortunately, I was useless. Never mind. I will
No,
take
it wasn't useless. We learned.
That's
We learned.
fine.
Okay.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Perfectly fine.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So, Willie, when we talk about,
I think she was having some net problem.
it
So
happens.
we catch up from other.
We'll get her again. There
We'll
are
catch some other.
different ways. There are different ways. We'll do it. We'll get a one-on-one. More not through here. But this is what it takes to be successful. That woman doesn't give up. I love her. I mean, her spirit, she just doesn't quit. She's that person that's going to say, this baby's going to live. I'm going to make sure this baby's going to live, and she's not going to walk away. She's not going to walk away. That's what it takes to be successful in anything in life, right? And look at that. That was an example right there. I think some problem. Okay, we got somebody saying, okay, you can hear everything. Okay. Well, I'm glad people can hear everything. I think because she could not, she felt like nobody else could hear her, but everybody could hear her fine. Her message to the world was amazing. She shared that they believe that 2 babies have died. So this is not a virus that is prejudiced to age. Her concern is let's bring the babies in that have been in vitro and bring them in safely. But if you are waiting to do this, to wait past COVID and be safe. And I think her message could not have been better. I wish she could have shared with us some secrets about preventing pregnancies, but I think social distancing should help, right? Although,
I'll share one secret of Dr. Saab. In last year, one patient came to her and she was having twins. But unfortunately, one twin out of 2, one has died inside in 4th month. So she was worried, what should I do with the pregnancy? And they have discussed with a lot of doctors. Everybody doctor is having the difference of opinion. But when she came to Dr. Hinduja, she told me, don't worry, we will deliver the second child comfortably. Then she was having the question, the first child is dead in my womb, what should I do it? Bole, you don't worry, you have to do certain blood test every weekly or every fortnightly and take the sonography. So accordingly, we will come to know the status. But as far as her feeling is concerned, she told me, don't worry, we will deliver the child comfortably. And the child was delivered comfortably, and today the child is alive.
No,
This
wow.
was the Hinduja.
So she doesn't give up, right?
Yeah.
She can't.
Every life is precious to her, and to have won the award she's won is far greater than any Nobel Prize.
I would also request Raj uncle that can you elaborate about what she got Padma Shri and how important is that for Indian society?
Padma Shri is the highest award in India, which is to be given by the President of India.
Wow.
Thereafter, she got near about 21 awards during her tenure. And she is very charitable to all the institution also. Wherever she gives the lectures also, she is gone to the Rajya Sabha also to deliver the lecture. And
Wow.
the gynec, she has, I have explained to Ankit also what is her main ambition in the life. It is just like she is very simple, staying in the flat, and she has not married so far.
Oh.
So that is a secret which I have
got so many babies on her own, right? Everybody's her baby.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just now there was a call, there was some emergency there, so she is going. So she has just disconnected and attending the patient. She is that much dedicated to the work, like that.
So her life has been.
Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we are arranging one pulmonologist, Dr. Rajiv Mathur, who is the head of Jaslok Hospital, Bombay. As far as the chest physician is concerned, and the COVID-19 is basically the respiratory syndrome. So we are arranging the meeting. Accordingly, we will just let you know the timing, so you can have one-to-one chat, and the viewers can put up the question for the thing.
Sure.
So yeah, because our viewers are really good. They know how to ask the questions. So even
They
if
can ask online question, they can reply. It can be replied. Then not an issue.
right, so we'll even tell people they can email us questions and we can send them to her as well, and to any of the doctors,
Right.
because what her message is just very, very important to the whole world. It's
Then
not
we can have a very, very good doctor. They know that all are stalwarts. It's
right.
just like they have the best in their field. We are just discussing all the things day by day. Every day we can have one good doctor on panel so that you can have the discussion about the COVID-19. It is totally related with the COVID-19.
Well, and it's important to discuss this on a world level, not just the U.S., on humanity, right? I mean, we talk about this all the time that we have to learn from each other how to get through this, but we're going to have to work together and
Right.
work as a community to make
Yeah.
sure that that's right, that we save our lives, because this is not a problem just in the US or just in India or just in China or Hong Kong or Australia. It's the whole world. It infects a human. This isn't about the leaders anymore. This is about humans and how we're going to maintain life, and having babies is very important. If we stop having babies because of COVID-19, this is not going to be good. We need to eventually get back to making life again, because that's what keeps us, sustainable. Um, it's very, very important. But also we need to protect ourselves right now. And she gave that message loud and clear. And I think all the doctors, and I appreciate all of them. And I appreciate you telling me how to properly address them, because in Japan it's the same thing, right? In Japan, you address people based on professional mannerisms, and you end everything in san, right?
Yes.
So that means that you respect them. That's their professional. So I'm glad to hear that and learn these things. Maybe I'll learn the language.
That's how we have to see the best practices around the world, not in terms of COVID, but in terms of general lifestyle and how we can improve and ourselves and also respect each and every community around the world. That's what life is all about. I mean, it's not about earning dollars and just spending them on different things.
I mean,
It is a good platform to share the thoughts.
um,
Yes,
I received a quite an interesting document from our friend Abhijit, and he shared. And is there a professional thing for him too? Like, do I have to address him with a professional way?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So, and he sent me a documentation, because your leaders are now talking about the stages for reentry, what I call reentry. And I think it's very important. This is something Nick has been asking for considerably. What's our steps for reentry? How are we going to get back to life? Is there going to be a get back to life? I feel like Back to the Future right now, right? But I was just briefly reviewing it while we were trying to get all these technical things, because it caught my eye, because it's positive news, right? We're talking about, but one of the things I've thought interesting was agriculture, right? That it is considered necessary, and I have already 100 questions reeling in my head about what do certain things mean, but we need to talk about reentry into the world. Medical is very, very important to us. Research is very important to us, but other things are very important to our economy, right? And economy, I agree with you. Our health comes first, and then we'll build our wealth. But so many people have built their wealth and they're afraid to lose it. Just like I was kind of hoping that I was okay for retirement. I'm not anymore. So, where we thought things were established, they're not, because maybe you bank too much on on the stock market, or you bank too much on certain investments. I thought we were able to move our money fast enough, and it didn't happen. Some of the people have told us, the senator has said, become liquid as much as you possibly can, have as much cash available as you possibly can, apply for loans. But it's not as easy as you think. And I've got 100 people a day emailing me, hey, we'll process a loan for you. And I don't trust half of them. Like Nick says, you're going to give them your bank account number. They're going to empty. And I'm just going to tell everybody my bank account's empty. So I wrote the last check for business. My bank account's empty. There is no more money right now. So don't email me if you're trying to steal from me. There's nothing to steal. It's just, but like, all of these loan people are saying, hey, we can get you a loan. Okay, send me a loan and we'll talk. But be careful. This is what Nick was saying. I don't know when his next class is, but we'll be having classes on stimulus. Of course, he'll do some free retirement classes, and maybe this is a time to think about those things. How are you going to do it? And establish some good financial habits, right? Because a lot of us probably got a little lazy there or never knew. I mean, I talk to people all the time that nobody ever taught me. I never learned. I just lived week to week, paycheck to paycheck. I was just happy to make enough money to pay my bills. And so people never got an opportunity to even think about retirement or consider it. And that would be nice to start talking about, while we're during this COVID-19. Yes, Sasha. I got to drop off just a second, but I'm going to let Sasha
No
talk.
problem. Although what I'm going to talk about you could perhaps use it. But
Okay.
First of all, here we go.
I'm listening.
Your ability to help yourself financially, you cannot rely on government. You cannot rely on just about anything, except that you have access to quality advice. If you get quality advice, then you should do not only okay, but even prosper. And one of examples what I have is the newsletter by the name The Power Elite. This is a newsletter that I'm getting once a month, and it always presents 2 stock ideas of a month. And most of them, I don't want to say 100%, but close to it, maybe 98%, are absolutely right calls. And at the last page of his newsletter, he shows all stocks in that portfolio that he has, and the buy date, buy price, current quote, and percentage gain or loss if it's a loss. But from everything what I see, except 2 positions, he has nothing but gains. But that's not all. John Markham, who is editor of this Power Elite, he put together a great material. I don't think anybody should trade stock without learning and reading 5 times this book, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. It's about Jesse Livermore, who is considered to be one of the greatest stock traders of all time. And he is talking very deep, and he has fantastic comments on this book. And he is talking about how Jesse studied the tape and how he saw the movements. It's all so much easier to do now, because at his time, the beginning of 20th century, there was no internet. He had to actually sit in a room when they had a stock ticker running on the wall, and he was staring at it for hours and see the volume of each transaction and making marks. Today, you have it on the internet, just push a button and you'll get all this information. It's so easy. maybe not everybody can use these materials and follow up on it. Fair enough. But it's there, it's available. And I really don't see a good alternative to do and just help yourself. Please help yourself. You cannot rely
You
on.
just shared some good resources, some good reading material. If you're sitting around and you don't know what to do, pick up a good book. You know, once you get addicted to reading again, you're not going to stop. I mean, I spent years too busy working, and then one day I sat down and read a book when I was sitting on the beach, and I could never stop. So now's the time to pick up those books. It's quiet. The earth is resting. Let the earth continue to rest. What's exciting about this is the earth is healing, the ozone is healing, and we're learning about this, right? We're learning about this from all of these great scientists that keep visiting us. And in fact, I'm going to get somebody from NASA to join us here in a couple, maybe next week, he'll join us. But all of these things are happening that are good for our earth. And I keep saying, you know, why can't we do this once a year? You know, once a year, maybe not for a month or two, but for a whole week, shut down and let the earth heal. I don't think I'm imagining things because I've heard other people say it. Go out and listen to the birds. I've always had a lot of birds in my backyard and a lot of frogs, but they do sound different. There is a different message being whispered in our nature that you can hear. And I'll go outside after the show. Can you hear it too, Ankit?
Yeah, I can hear it too, but I'll tell you what happened. I'm just trying to figure out that video. So in Bombay, I mean, because of this lockdown situation, there are a lot of birds flying around, and the birds are saying "Cuckoo, cuckoo," like and a lot of humans are also trying to, because they have to pass their time, so they also mimicking the same sound, and the birds are replying. And that was an amazing video. I'll try to share the video today. But that was an amazing because the birds are replying in the same sound. I mean, what they used to do it for their communication with the other birds. I'll try to figure out that video soon. But that was amazing, as you mentioned, that Earth or maybe environment is in a different mode altogether, and they also wanted some kind of a lockdown. And the positive side is that's why they want us to be at home, and then they will recover it as soon as they can.
Well, think about this. All the money we spent for years on researching to save the world, we can put that back into our economy now. We're not going to need it to save the world. But what should we take from this? We should take that once a year, our world needs cleansing.
But Kim, I think there is one more way that whatever money we are spending in the environment and all those things, so we have to give that money to our citizens and let them stay at home.
Exactly.
So if you stay at home, you'll get $700.
There you go. Here's the thing. What have we learned? We've learned that maybe we didn't need all of those researchers. Maybe we just needed to spend a week home. And because, you know, something I learned from Intel that I respected Intel for is they believe in sabbaticals. Our earth needs a sabbatical from us, right? And I don't think we need to stop cleaning it. I think we need to clean all the plastic out of the ocean. I think our ocean's over plasticized. But think about this. We could take that money, shut down for a week, take a sabbatical, a human sabbatical, an earth sabbatical, and become a new joining, right? And I think it's important to think about that because a lot of religions take time out, right? A lot of, even in religion, we have our weeks off. In Puerto Rico, they do something every day. So that's what I tell people, you know, if you want to go someplace and celebrate every day, go to Puerto Rico. They have a reason to celebrate every day. There's a saint, there's something that they're celebrating every day. But look at, you know, a week of prayer, a week of personal cleansing, building your immunity. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing.
A retreat of sorts. Yeah.
No, I don't think we're dying because of this. I think we're dying because of the virus, but I don't think we're dying from staying home.
Yeah. In school, they used to tell us that you go for a retreat. You know, the priests would go for a retreat. And yeah, what you're saying makes absolute sense. I've got to leave now, but I love these shows, and
I love having you on. You're such a sound voice.
I love the input from one of your participants in the previous show. They said we need to consume less. I think that's a very important lesson that this virus has highlighted to all of us. Thank you so much, all of you.
What wise words. Consume less. Thank you, Ricky. I always thank you for being here. Thank you.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Actually, Rakesh, you are absolutely right. What I would recommend, instead of 2 bottles a day, drink only 1 bottle. And you already help and you consume much less.
Corona brings back Rakesh.
Before I forgot about pregnancy,
That's the power
about your comments about pregnancy. I loved your story, of course. And but as I said before, result of coronavirus, people are staying together for a month. So 9 months from now, there will be a lot of divorces, but also a lot of babies. A lot. You can't even imagine how many babies we'll have in 9 months from now. That's fabulous. So this is maybe another reason for people to stay home, to be together, and get the babies and more babies, and just get as many babies as you ever can think of.
That's great. It's a good test of a relationship. My mother used to tell me when I was very young, if you want to know that you can be with someone for the rest of your life, before you marry them, take a long road trip on a bus with only, a change of clothes, but, for several days, take a long road trip with them.
Or on a slow boat to China. How about that?
Right, exactly. But with no fancy provisions, Kim, none of your 5-star that you got to have. Because I grew up kind of poor, but I always wanted better things, right? So I always worked hard. I worked 3 jobs in high school sometimes, so I could have better things. And so it was funny that my mom would tell me that, take a slow boat to China, basically, with somebody. And if you can stand each other, then you're good. But if you sit there and you nitpick every little thing about them and you can't stand them by the end of the road trip, find somebody else, because you're not going to last a lifetime with them. And sometimes, I think we see love when you meet somebody, that first impulse of, oh my gosh, but you learn to live with them. This lockdown, I agree with you, Sasha. There's going to be a lot of divorces.
Kim, tell me something. You just mentioned that you were born poor. Do you remember the Steve Martin's routine when he says, I was born a poor black child? Then things started to improve.
Only up from there, right? I need to get Tommy on. Exactly. I was born a poor black child. And
that was great.
I had to work very hard to get to where I am today. Steve Martin. Oh my gosh. Somebody that can just make you laugh when he grins, right? He just looks at the camera and you laugh, right?
Yeah. Love his banjo playing too.
Right. Oh gosh, is he a storyteller or what? He gets on that banjo and he is fantabulous. And I love the movie Roxanne. I mean, and the nose that.
Where I first heard about Steve Martin and where I read a huge several pages article about him with pictures and everything. Believe it or not, in Playboy magazine many years ago. No, by the way, I'm surprised nobody talks about how these days all the porno sites are proliferating. They're making a killing. Everybody is now spending at least 5-6 hours a day on the porno sites. Nobody
really?
mentioned that. Absolutely.
Hey, we're spending 4 hours here. Okay, that's where the rest of the world is. They're on the porn sites. If you're not,
we're not there yet, but we are doing something right.
But what did I tell you guys when we built out the first of a high-speed backbone? And it was so funny to me because we literally generated the first MRI across the real time, where a doctor could get the MRI in real time. And we spent a lot of money getting there. And we wanted the government to back us at that point so that we could install this everywhere. And they said, we just don't want to spend the money to be first in this kind of technology. And I go, what do you mean? We've improved education. All of the classes that came on video classes, all the students were your summer school students, the ones who were making D's and F's and troublesome. They were dressing up every day. They were good in front of the camera. They loved it. They loved being in front of the camera. But their grades went up. And I said, how can you not? No, we don't. We don't want to invest in this. So it went to the sidelines, and it was porn and gaming that paid for the internet to expand. Porn and gaming. And I just lost it. I go, not medical, not education, not the two important things of life. I guess porn and gaming are the other two important things.
Well, I can help with gaming. I'm not so good at porn, but it's never late to learn.
It's honest gaming. No matter what, it's honest. It's chess, and it's educational, and it's fun. The chess people are a hoot. It's a big cult family out there. It's just crazy.
That's right.
I love you guys.
There are so many interesting stories about chess. I just can't believe. And a lot of interesting stories happened to me. And as I said, a couple of days ago, I've had probably 3.5 hours. We did, I think, WhatsApp call with our very old friend who is in Moscow now. And he's writing a book, his memoirs or so on. And I told him stories that happened to me. He was so fascinated that he said it's going to be part of my book and asked for my permission. And of course, I gave it to him, and then he started to regret, because why wouldn't I write the book? Why I gave this material to him to write about it? But then I said, okay, let's go. Okay, I have so many more stories. So
I mean, you got great stories. You need to put them into a book, and then we need to get them onto a vocal. That's what somebody said I needed to do with my book, is put it into a vocal. But I just, when Nick told me to write the book, because I gave a speech at the North Carolina State University graduation, and then I got invited to speak for what do you call it? The minority entrepreneurs, Hispanic and minority. And I'm like, I'm blonde hair, blue eyed. Why do you want me? I don't even speak Spanish. And they go, no, you're great because of your, how you had to work very hard to get here, but you're funny. I guess I'm funny, but I'm going to tell you what, challenges make you funny. If you survive challenges, you start laughing about them, and you don't see things the same way, right? Once you've survived a lot of these challenges. But Nick convinced me to write the book. I took it from the speech and put it into a book. And of course, Nick says, don't worry about editing it. Don't worry about, getting the spelling right. Nobody's going to read it. And sure enough, everybody that read it would say, you need to get an editor on this book. But they told me it was a great book. One gentleman bought 100 copies and gave it to his board of advisors. But books are great. I want to be a good author one day. That's something that I always dreamed of. I wrote a lot of white papers as an engineer. I did a lot of engineering documents, and it's different. Telling the story as an engineer or writing a patent is way different than telling a story from the heart. And I like science fiction, so I like to write thriller type. And I've been working on a book for a long time. I started working on it with somebody I used to proofread a published author's book. He was a thriller writer, and I would proofread his books before he published. And I asked him one day, I said, would you help me write my book? And so he started helping me, and then he passed away before I got it finished. But he gave me a lot of good insight, a lot of good advice, the kind of advice I would not have considered. But I learned from him, and I keep rewriting the book. And what I need to do is just finish it. I wrote about things that didn't exist, that they exist now. Like I wrote about an artificial intelligence system like Alexa, but it was called Spencer. And but I wrote about this. I started this book in 2010 and 12. I started that. I had this idea, and I basically kind of, in a small way, I guess maybe because I stayed so well connected in so many things, I kind of knew what was coming down the loop. So I was writing about things that actually started happening, like some bad things with the IRS. I got busted for the way they treated certain people, and I kind of pre-wrote about that before it happened. But I never published the book. And I guess I need to sit down and finish it and publish it. But my sister, who doesn't like to read, I've been letting her read it to get her feedback, and she loves it. Like, she says, I don't even like to read, and I love this book. So,
Okay, I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, what do you think about deja vu?
deja vu. So, what I think is I think it's a lot of preparedness, and I think it's because you do so many things the same way over and over and over in life. What do you think about it, Ankit? Because we have some deja vu that goes on this show. So
So what I think that I mean, the way you were saying that you wrote something about Alexa in a different manner altogether a couple of years back, I also felt the same way. So suppose that if I come across a new innovation, I was like, I knew about it. I maybe I have used it in my dreams or somewhere,
yeah,
and it's something new for me. That's why I felt a lot of times, and then I recheck myself with talking to a lot of people whether I am in control or whether whatever I say makes sense to everyone else. Because sometimes it feels that I have been doing all these things for so long. It's just that the person who is presenting is that person's chance to be part of that presentation in front of the audience, but I was a part of the backend team. That's where I've realized a lot of times.
I I think you're right. Willie, what do you think about deja vu? I love that movie, Deja Vu.
No, I've not had much experience with that, so yeah, I don't really know much about it.
And also, and also, I realize that people who have a lot of dreams or who remember a lot of dreams, they have that deja vu going on every now and then. I don't know, but that's what I've realized.
So, I come from a belief that there's just so much more in our life than what we live day by day, right? I believe in things you can't see. And I believe that our minds are far greater than what we use, and we tap into them when we sleep. I think that our brains can guide us. I mean, look at science fiction books, guys. Look at
Yeah.
them. All right. How much in science fiction written, back in even the 1800s came
Yeah.
true?
Yeah.
Just, you got to take a look at that. I mean, people wrote about going to the moon before we could even
Yeah.
consider going to the moon. Um,
You can talk about the COVID thing basically. I mean, Bill Gates have already had a TEDx lecture 5 years ago about that virus which will kill the mankind and it spread across anything. It was the same thing. I mean, so I think that whatever we as humans are writing, it will end up being felt or measured by the world. Maybe in some years down the line, or maybe in thousands of years, whatever it is. But it should be, because that's what the life is. Whatever you are trying to write, it should happen or it will happen in some time or the other.
right. I mean, I look at the book John Carter,
Yeah.
which was written a very long time ago, science fiction book about somebody going to Mars. And I think it was written about close to the early 1900s. But this is talking about living in Mars and how we were transferring between here and there. I mean, we are sending things to Mars and Venus, and I've had the honor and pleasure to have gone to some of the NASA labs and seen some of this fantastic stuff happening. I worry more things about on Earth right now than what's going on out there. Sometimes I worry that we bring back things, because like we go up there and then we splash down in our ocean. What did we bring from out there into our ocean that attached itself to the spaceship? I have to ask myself those kind of questions. But
And also I would like to know that, do you like writing books or do you like reading books?
What?
Do you like writing books more or do you like reading books? What is your experience while writing and reading?
Okay, it's a mood. When I get in a mood for writing, I can't stop. When I get in a mood for reading, I can't stop. I'll read 3 books in 3 days, or I'll, but so is my mood. When I get in a writing mood, don't talk to me. I'll be in the same clothes for 3 days writing. It's pretty bad. No, I get up and take a shower. But I want to ask Sasha, do you believe in deja vu?
It doesn't matter whether I believe in it or not. First of all, it's there. It's kind of like it's a fact. We don't have to argue about that. There are different meanings what people can put into it, but I think in terms of more or less practical implication of everything what you're doing, especially in times like this. For example, we discussed about writing the book, fine, reading the books. Now, reading the books, it's a little bit more complicated because when you write whatever you can write. You're able to write, and you're really no limits on what it could be science fiction, it could be your biography, it could be just anything. Okay. Now, what you read, it's very important because it influences your thinking, your feelings, all your intelligence system, so to speak. So it is very important what you read, maybe even what language, from what, whether it's Shakespeare or maybe it's Theodor Dreiser or some modern subject you'd like. It's very, very important to be selective. It's even more so in music that you're listening to. You see, music, unlike writing and visual arts, music is much more structured in what is, if you imagine certain pyramid in music, and it's accepted by all scholars of music, what's on the very, very top, then what slowly comes to the bottom, and on and on and on. So obviously, especially these days when you have time, it's very important that you will be listening on what is on the very, very top. However, I have to interrupt my speech for some other time to continue, because right now we have in our studio Grandmeister from Germany, Alexander Donchenko.
Hello.
Welcome, Alexander. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. I hope everyone can hear me.
Very
Yes,
loud and clear. Very loud and clear.
Thank you.
First time.
Where you're at.
It's first time ever that we have a Grandmeister in our studio, and we just discussed before you came out here that in a world, believe it or not, there are more billionaires than Grandmeisters.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? It's
You're
almost
very rare. You're very rare indeed. Share with us a little bit about I know the whole world in chess knows who you are, and I wish Nick, I'm going to try to get Nick on, because I know that he would just go goo over there, because chess is everything to Nick in many, many ways. I came into the chess family by accident because I started doing a TV show with somebody who is a magnificent chess player. But how did you get into it? You're very young, first off.
Okay, I'm 22 years old, and basically it runs in my family since I've been playing chess in tournaments since I was 8 years old. Wow. And okay, my father he's an international master, so also quite a strong player, and all of my family members play chess to a certain degree. So I came into contact with chess from a very early age, and basically had no choice other than to learn the rules. Okay, I didn't have to pursue it as a career, but I chose to, and I think it was a reasonably good choice.
Oh, bravo.
How do you make chess a career?
Well, there are actually a few ways to make this happen. The most comfortable one, or let's say the best one, if you can make it, is to become a full-time playing professional. So you choose your tournaments, you play there, and you receive appearance fees and prize money depending on your results. And if you're quite good and play strong tournaments, this is enough to earn a decent living.
Wonderful.
The problem with this is there are maybe only about 100 players in the world who can manage this. So for everyone else, they have to resort to other activities like coaching, streaming, writing books, a lot of activities that are connected to chess, but not exactly playing itself. And well, some people just simply enjoy them more, but I would like to make it as a playing professional, so to speak.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Who was your strongest opponent you ever played?
Well, I guess that's hands down Magnus Carlsen, because
Really?
there is not much competition there unless you count an engine.
Yeah. Tell me, please, what is your favorite book that you're reading now or last few months?
My favorite. You mean chess book or a book
No,
book from literature?
any book. Any book.
My favorite. I suppose from normal literature, my favorite book is. I actually don't know the English translation. It's in French. It's Les Misérables by Victor Hugo. I don't.
Oh my God. Oh, what a choice. This is my favorite book and movie and musical and just anything.
I didn't
Oh,
actually
that's fantastic.
see anything beside the book, but I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called in English. I read it in
Les
German,
Miserables.
which was hard enough actually, because even in German there were many words I had to look up, which was quite surprising. But I really enjoyed that one.
Do you remember the stuff when he writes about the Battle of Waterloo?
Yes, I do.
What a writing. Do you agree that Leo Tolstoy was following Victor Hugo and actually developed that genre of historical drama?
I think
This War and Peace, you know?
I think I'm not qualified to answer this question. My father would probably be. He's a very avid reader, but I'm sorry. I'm just very afraid of saying something stupid here. So I'll.
Excuse me. What is your first name of your father?
Anatoly.
Anatoly. I think I know who he is. Okay, I'll later tell you. Tell me, please, what is your favorite music that you like to listen to?
That is not so easy to say, because it really depends on the mood, and the mood that I'm in. First of all, until I was about 17 or 18, I basically did not listen to music. So, except when something's on the radio or something, but it's not like I decided now I will listen to music for a little bit and see what I like. That became the case only later. And okay, initially I think I like a few rock songs very much, because I think I listened to some of them as a kid because they were playing in the car when we were traveling somewhere. But in fact, recently I'm also like tiptoeing into classical music just to listen to something different. But I think that I'm actually enjoying a lot of different musical styles, because I'm not very well versed in them. I just if it sounds good and I can picture something to it, then it's good enough for me. So I'm not a musician, so I wouldn't really be able to tell you the difference between one piece and another in technical terms.
Oh, sure. And now you're ready to listen to music of Les Miserables. Whether it's musical or you can watch the movie Les Miserables, and there is fantastic music. It's one of the best music ever written for a Broadway show. You will definitely enjoy it. How about, what's your favorite food or dish that you would like to eat?
Okay. As many other people, I probably like many things, but the most stable one, I believe, are oranges. I eat lots and lots of oranges, often like 1 or 2 kilos a day. So that's really up there. But of course, like many other people, I like ice cream and some berries and.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Nick, you have a couple of questions, please.
Alex, how you doing?
Hello there. I'm
Where-
good, thanks you.
Well, what city are you out of?
Gießen in Germany. It's close to Frankfurt.
Oh, you're okay. Okay, you're close to Frankfurt. Now they just told me. I'm sorry, I had to beam out because I had some, how you say, back end business to do. But they say you're a chess grandmaster, eh?
It happens to be true, yes.
Really? Wow.
Wait a minute, 22, Nick. He's 22. Now,
Wait. But see, that's what I told you. Okay, so here's the deal. In case you don't know, Alex, there are less chess grandmasters in the world than there are billionaires.
I heard that. To be fair, though, probably more people try to become billionaires.
Well, it's easier. Hey, Alex, it's easier, okay, to become a billionaire, in case you didn't know, but we'll help you out with that later on. Because also I was telling them, I said, look, if you don't make it by the time you're in your 20s, you can forget it. You know, in other words, like somebody who's 30 years old, I'm going to become a chess grandmaster, ain't happening.
Hey, I'm in my 50s. I'm going to become one.
Forget it. No, wait, time out. I've heard a lot of people, especially on the internet, hey, I'm 35 and I'm going to work really hard and I'll become because I want to become a chess grandmaster. And I say, not happening. Okay, unless you do it this while you're young and early. I don't know why it is, but like if you do it in elementary school, middle school, high school, you're not going there.
Alex,
So
I do have a question because you're from Germany, and how is it there right now with the COVID-19? I mean,
I think yesterday there are the first planned steps to somehow open a few businesses from starting next week, but. Basically, for me, it's not such a big deal because I sit at home most of the time anyway. If I go out to jog in the park, I can still do that. And okay, I mean, economically, it's of course it probably will be very harsh, but in my personal life, there is not that much of an effect. Of course, I would like it to end soon, but let's say it's bearable.
Right. Do you play on Chess, chess.com or ICC or what
I play almost anywhere I can. So Chess, chess.com, chess24, Play Chess, all the sites, you name it, because there are just no alternatives to online play at the moment.
Okay. What's your ELO?
My ELO where? My over the board ELO. My okay, because sorry, I think at the moment 2646, I believe, yes.
Very respectable.
That's very respectable. Okay, yeah.
Thank you. It might actually stay that way for a while, since nobody knows when the next tournament is going to happen.
That's true. Do you mainly play in Europe or ever play in the United States?
I have been to the United States once last year in San Francisco. That was the Pro Chess League finals that season.
Oh yeah, the Pro Chess League, sure.
I actually wanted to go to St. Louis to the St. Louis Spring Classic in the middle of March, but like 5 days before the tournament, this whole situation started developing and the tournament got cancelled or officially postponed, but postponed indefinitely. So we'll see how that develops.
Right.
And aside from that, I think I've only been to Qatar once, and the rest has been mostly in Europe.
Oh.
Really? Okay. So you mainly play in Europe. Do you ever play in Iceland they have a Reykjavik Open? Do you ever play in that one?
I played there once. I actually played reasonably well, but I don't know. Somehow, just the atmosphere didn't really connect with me. I know a lot of people say a lot of good things about the tournament.
Sure.
It's just for me, it wasn't the best. But
what about Gibraltar? Do you ever play in Gibraltar? They have a good tournament there every year. Or used to.
Yeah.
You know.
Not only used to, they still do. I play there every year, at least so far. I think for 5 years running already. I never really scored a great result there. I always did kind of as expected, or around that. But of course, that's actually a very nice place, especially in January when everywhere else is cold, and you go to Gibraltar, you can walk around in a t-shirt. It's kind of refreshing.
Right. Do you play Bug House at all?
Some people occasionally force me to after tournaments. There are a few fans of the game, and they say, "Oh, come on, tournament's over. Let's play Bug House. Let's play Bug House." But I'm quite bad at it, and not a big fan. But I can.
Bug House, it's double chess, where you play and the other person plays. You have teams, and it's a whole different game. I mean, they have some There's the chess mutants. It's like COVID-19. This is COVID-20. It's a whole different game. Yeah, it seriously is.
But a lot of
So
fun.
this is chess
But it's
20.
a lot of fun. It's more entertainment than it's not serious. What I call serious hardcore tournament play.
I got a question for Alex, because all of this is about chess, but I see that there's a soccer or football picture behind you.
Oh,
What
please,
else-
please.
You just can't live. You just can't live chess. What else do you have going on in your life?
Yeah. Do you have a life outside of it? That's what she's trying.
If you actually zoom in or somehow look closer, that's a poster of Roger Federer. So I'm a tennis player and also a tennis fan.
Tennis.
Really?
I'm
Okay.
sorry. Okay, tennis. I thought.
Yeah.
Are you
Okay.
3-5 or better in tennis? 3-5 better or better?
Excuse me. Could you repeat that?
What's your tennis ranking? In other words, they have a whole different ranking: 3-0, 3-5,
Nick and his
4-0.
In Germany, we actually have a different ranking, and it just goes straight from 1 to 23. But never mind. I don't play enough to get it to have a decent ranking in any system. It's just that I like to play, and I wouldn't have time to play competitively anyway.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely, especially if you're a professional chess player. It's not exactly natural to you.
That's true. Now, as a professional chess player, they train different than they did when I played 40 years ago. Do you guys use computers to help train, or how do you guys train now? We used to use Savosky Informator. That was the big thing years ago, but I don't know if Savosky Informator is even around.
It should still be, though I'm not exactly sure. My father had a very large collection of them.
Okay.
But okay, nowadays, obviously, most things happen via computer, and you don't actually even have to meet people you train with. You can just do it via video.
Right.
Of course, it's still better to meet in person, but especially now, if you don't have an alternative, it's very nice because you can still do all the same things. You obviously you analyze openings with the computer and on the screen, because otherwise it's just not enough quality behind it. And okay, you can play a lot online again on the computer, and there are tactics. You can do them offline or online. I prefer offline, to be honest, just because to me online chess is never quite the same. So I actually like to have a board in front of me, or at least in my head, which amounts to the same thing. And I believe that online chess cannot replace everything, at least yet.
Right. Do you ever do chess videos like with Will Stewart? He does a lot of chess videos.
I don't think you mean some kind of educational videos, like
yes, right. Educational videos, right?
No, I don't actually do that. I also don't really consider doing it because, at least in my opinion, if I do something like that, it affects how I play, because I have to. Let's say I have to see the world through someone else's eyes to really make them understand something, and it's like giving training to someone. If you do that, you still kind of that person is more important than you right now,
right?
And I think it's not beneficial to your own play.
Right. So you don't give chess lessons then? You're not a chess lesson person.
No.
Okay.
A lot of people have asked me over the years, but so far.
Yeah. No, but see, the thing is, the good news, you'll still get better. Once you hit 30, then it'll start changing, and you're going to go, well, maybe I should be giving chess lessons, you know.
Some people even get better after they have 30.
He's one of those.
Yeah, but you increase the decreasing
people
rate.
who make enough money playing the way he plays.
That's
And
hard.
He shared with us before you came on. He was born into a family who this is their way of life is chess. You know, that he was fortunate enough to have a family that he was able to follow their footsteps. You know, like some people follow their footsteps.
But it's so difficult. You're playing what I call hardcore tournament chess to make a living.
And
That's
burning
tough.
6,000 calories a game.
Oh,
That's how he
but
stays so fit.
you know, of course, like it's different than Europe than it's the United States. In the United States, you have to win the open tournament or you're toast. In Europe, they have all these invitationals.
Yeah, but it's somewhat different in Europe. You see, in the United States, unless you win the first prize, not even second or third, first. So you take home all the big honor, you take $25,000.
Winner take all, baby.
In Europe,
I know,
different. Sometimes you can take second or even sixth place or even 12th place. and still walk away with a decent winnings. So they don't reward so much first place, but they do reward many more places. So it's
Right.
easier to make professional living. And now, speaking about teaching chess, Nick, do you believe that those who can do, those who can't
Teach.
teach?
Yeah, right. You know,
That's why while he's
but I've seen a
playing,
lot.
you might as well keep playing.
Yeah, but I've
Later
seen
on,
no,
you'll-
when you're young like he is, you
Yeah.
should continue playing. I totally agree with it. But as you mature, the thing is, and you try to say, okay, I'm going to make a living at this. If you can't win these tournaments anymore, then I've noticed a lot of the players would teach and they would continue making a living forever. Which back when I was playing, that wasn't the case. You could not teach and make a living. It was impossible. There weren't enough students.
Oh,
But
now
it's
it's a different
changed.
story.
Yeah, now it's a different story. So I ran into a lot of these players. I say, how are you making a living at this game anymore? He goes, well, I have a lot of students. I was going, whoa, that didn't exist back in 1979. You know, it was not the case. You couldn't do it.
Well, now we have computers, and like we learned through John Fanning, his first technology that he built was a chess game, right?
Right,
Online
that's
chess
right.
game. He made
Right.
money. He made
That's how,
money.
how
He was one of the first.
Napster got started because
Right. That's how Napster got started. He had this ongoing chess online game, and then
He still
he
does.
turned it into Napster, which
Right.
was how to listen to music.
Right.
Alex, I want to kind of go back into doing what you're talking about. Sasha asked you about some of your favorite things because we're trying to establish what makes a great grand chess master so young, and how do you eat and things like that. When you were talking about your music, I want to share with you, we're starting a new music channel, and we got a new music cafe that we're going to be airing real soon, and it's going to be more of the country western. We have a young girl about your age. She's going to be running the show, so maybe you can join us, but maybe you can also come join us occasionally and talk about chess and what it's like doing what you're doing, because not many people have that opportunity to do something they love passionately as much as you do and make it a living. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of people involved in chess, they're very modest and
I just noticed he got
secretive too, and secretive. They don't want to talk about what if I will ask Alexander what he is thinking about Mr. Mikhail Marin and what he's going to play on Saturday. Do you think he's going to tell you an honest answer? Probably not.
It depends. Actually, in this case, I can honestly say that I did not prepare yet. So besides, I played him already quite a few times, so there won't be that many surprises, I think. And in rapid games, preparation is quite secondary anyway. It's all about daily form.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like preparing for the Rocky match. Do you have any exercises you do, warm ups? Do you have some?
What's the time control?
At 25 minutes per game and 15 seconds of forced delay for each player.
Okay, all right. So the thing is, it actually moves pretty fast then. It's a 25 game 25.
Each game is about an hour long.
Yeah. See, the real problem when you play game 25 or game 15, at least I've seen a lot of players, they'll use up all their time. It becomes a 5-minute game or 3-minute game. They'll use up all their time in the opening. And
Alex, if you want to watch a really funny chess tournament, we have one on IBM TV of Nick playing John Fanning. John Fanning came on our show, and they played a game of speed chess, and it was the first time I've ever watched it. First off, This was several years ago when Nick and I we did Nick's first season, and we were interviewing John Fanning. So it was my first time to even be around all these chess players. And
John Fanning was the founder of Napster, in case you don't know.
But they played this chess game, and I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, we got a whole studio full of equipment, 3 cameras, and nobody's filming this event. So I filmed it real quick. I took out my phone and did, and filmed it. And it's awesome because it's so fast. I mean, which kind of game do you like to play best? Do you like to play the fast games, or do you like to play the slow, long thought out? What's your favorite?
I think my favorite is still the, so to say, serious tournament games, because the more you get into it, the more you realize how much is actually happening during a game, because even if let's say after a game is finished and which you didn't play, and you click through it, you click through the moves, which many players do with top level games just to stay up to date, and even if you like take 5 or 10 minutes, you still will only scratch the surface of what was happening, and some things you can't simply understand unless you played it. When you play a game and you think for 5 minutes and you see how your opponent behaves at the board, you just sometimes your intuition tells you what he's thinking about, where to direct your thoughts, and it's a very complex struggle, and it sometimes lasts for hours. And I think that's what makes a chess game at this level so special.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's interesting to know. Has there ever been a moment in your chess tournaments? Maybe this is a dumb question, that you're like, I'm just not into this. I want it to be over. Do you just ever get that way?
The last round of a long tournament.
No, of course it happens now. Well, first of all, if you lose a game, unfortunately happens to everyone, and then you just for some time you feel like you don't really want to see anyone. You don't want to register anything around you. But it can also happen if you play, let's say, 2 tournaments in a row, and at the end of the second tournament, you just feel you need some days off chess, because when you play a tournament game, it's not just you play from 3 to, let's say, 7, but you actually start preparing at, let's say, 10 a.m., go until 12:30. Then you have like lunch, maybe sleep or go for a walk. Then you play the game for 4 hours. Then you look at the game after it has finished, because you can't just throw everything out the window. So it's basically a full day job when you're playing games, at least. And when you do that for like 10 or 15 days in a row, it just gets to you, and then you tell yourself, no, this is enough.
Then you go play tennis. That's basically time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time to play a little tennis.
Yeah, you gotta go for a long
Question
walk
for
or
you.
something, kind of
What do you
get
think
out of your
about?
system.
Sorry, what do you think about this candidates tournament, which was either adjourned or cancelled, or what's your take on it?
Okay, obviously I'm not an insider. I only have public information, but I would say they did their very best to make it happen. I think it was a reasonable choice. At least you can argue for it. And the way it happened, obviously it got cancelled. But as I understand, it got cancelled due to Russian political decisions and not due to actual health risk there. So I don't know. Okay, obviously the way it worked out now is the worst way possible, because halfway through it sort of aborted, and now you have to figure out what to do, because this is, as far as I know, quite unprecedented. I think they had a good chance of making it finish, but I don't know. Now, of course, they have to deal with this situation, but I wouldn't blame FIDE just because they tried to make it happen.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, very good answer.
Have you ever played Fabio Karuna or Haruki Nakaruma from the U.S.?
Those were quite strange interpretations of those names, but I think.
I don't know how you pronounce their names.
No, I think I played Caruana only.
Okay.
Only at the Pro Chess League finals last year, and Nakamura I only played in a few online games, so I don't think I ever played him, let's say, over the board.
Okay, all right. So you have played some of the Americans then.
What about
Yeah,
Magnus? Magnus
Yeah, against Magnus Carlsen, I played a tournament game at the 2018 European Club Cup. It was a draw. It was quite an interesting game. I think it was also quite well publicized on some chess sites. So it was a very good experience for me.
Who was that? Who was that you played? Was that Magnus?
Yeah, the one and only.
You played the one and only Magnus? And you
Yes,
drew him?
amazing.
Why
That is
can't we
amazing.
say Magnus played the one and only Alex?
Because it doesn't work that way.
Now my
Chess is very hierarchical.
Hey,
Okay, it
Alex
starts
is
at
on
the
their
top.
show. Magnus
Okay,
is.
listen, you got to
Alex
understand.
is
It
on
starts
their
at the top. There's Magnus. Then it goes down, and that's everybody else. And then it goes down every further. Everybody else below everybody else. You know.
now
what they call
now my life has a purpose. Yes.
Yeah, right. Well, your purpose is to go up to that 2700 level, and then you become the super grandmaster, which doesn't have a title, but everybody apparently recognizes. And it seems like you're not that far away from becoming a super grandmaster, but still getting those extra points.
Where do you go from the top? That's what I want to know. I always had this saying in life that once you reach the top of the mountain, it should become your foothill for the next mountain. That's always been a saying I've had. Where do you go once you play the best? You are the best, and everybody wants to
then you
play
become
you. It's like the
Bobby
shootout
Fischer,
at
but
the
we
corral,
don't
right?
test that. Well, if you're like Magnus, what he does, he gets to the top, but he doesn't want anybody else to get there, so he keeps everybody out.
Perhaps, but
you go. Okay, I'm the best.
it's a good question how to stay motivated if you're really very far up. Okay, for me, it's perhaps not the question yet because there is still somewhere I can go. Definitely. I mean, even if let's say I would be content of being a top 10 player or something and would not want to develop after that, I'm still not there yet. But for someone like Magnus Carlsen, I think he just loves the game too much. It's okay. I don't know him personally that well, so it's just a wild guess, more or less. But you can't really tell yourself, oh, I want to keep sitting on the throne until all eternity. It's not going to keep you motivated for a long time. But I think he just really likes the competition, and so far he's enjoying it.
Right. Now, how do you learn to speak English so well?
Yeah,
English. How do you learn English?
Actually, from a few sources. Well, obviously in elementary school and then high school. Then also as a chess player, I travel a lot. I meet many different people, and many of them speak English. And also a lot of credit goes to my sister, who forced me to take extra English lessons with her. She had a very good teacher at school, and ever since, of course, I was like 8 years old, so I resented her for it. But now I reap the benefits, and I'm very grateful to her.
Does she play chess as well? Is she a chess player?
Of course, like I said, everyone plays chess. I think she is at about 1700.
Very respectable.
Were you good at math also when you were in the school?
I was, yes, without any particular effort, so to speak, but I was also not really powering through it because I didn't see a point. Because well, in school there's only so many challenges you can get unless you're into these math Olympiads and whatnot. But since I'm already a chess player, I was doing well. I always had good marks there, but well, I wouldn't say anything special. Yeah.
How good were you in chess when you were in high school?
I became a grandmaster shortly, as just a few weeks, I think, before my 17th birthday. So I was still in high school,
right?
And until then, I think I became an IM with 2012. So I was 14, and I was quite steadily improving throughout high school. And well, I quite liked it because I could miss a lot of classes, and I would still go to tournaments during school time. Also, big thanks to my principal there at school because he let me go as long as my marks were good, and I think it was quite a good time in my life.
What was your best tournament result? I mean, best tournament that you had?
By pure performance, I think it was at my second Grandmaster norm in 2014. I won the Open in Groningen in the Netherlands. Right. I scored 8 out of 9 and scored something like 28 and a little bit in performance. But perhaps more, even better, what I think right now are the tournaments I played last year in Barcelona. I won an Open in Barcelona in September. I scored like 2780 maybe performance there. And also around 2780 I scored at the French Team Championship on board 1. I won the first prize there, and right now I feel this is more of an achievement than the Open I won back in 2014. But it doesn't. The numbers don't reflect so.
Yeah, right. Because, well, the performance ratings are never 100% accurate. You know. So
that's true.
But to indicate,
however, it helps. If you reach 2800, it will help to get into elite tournaments and so on.
Well, if he hits 2,700, then he becomes the super grandmaster. And then
Wow, so there's a super
let me tell you, getting those
We're
40,
gonna get
when
around
you're
here.
2,600, 2,660, and you have to add 40 more points. They don't give those points away, do they, Alex?
They don't even give away 1 point. When you start thinking about it, it starts getting pretty harsh because playing any random open. And even let's say if I play an open with double rounds, so with 2 games a day, chances are most of the days 1.5 out of 2 is not going to increase my rating on a given day.
Right.
So yeah,
it's real tough. I mean, to move up that food chain.
I gotta know something though. Do you ever just know in your heart you're gonna win a game? Do you, other than if you were playing somebody like me?
Yeah. When your player is extremely weak on the other side.
But
Dude.
because Kim, her mind goes way over here, and I forget to move. But because we're doing technical stuff. but do you ever just feel that confidence inside you that you know you're going to win?
Do you mean before a game starts?
Yes.
I think that happens more often than you think, and I think it should still happen even more often because. Confidence is strangely enough a big part of chess. Normally you think it shouldn't matter because you just think, you decide on moves and you play them, but the way how you decide depends very much on your confidence. And of course, if I play someone significantly lower rated, then I basically know if I bring close to my A game, that there's a 99% chance I will win and a 1% chance I will draw. And this is usually quite a comfortable feeling, but the important thing is to develop this confidence even when you play opponents of your level or even above your level. That you can still do it, and you have to trust yourself while making those choices at the board.
Mm-hmm.
What good advice! And he's only 22. That's the kind of confidence you need when you start a company. That's the kind of confidence you need when you do.
Yeah, but it's so hard because like he says, he has to bring his A game to the table, and a lot of cases.
All up here.
Well, the thing it's all but also you're human, and you could get this thing called sick. Okay, and if you're sick and you're playing, how does that work for you, Alex?
I actually want to say 2 things. First of all, about it being up here, right. That can be a blessing and a curse because since nobody else can look inside your head, for the most part, you're the only person who can fix something up there. Right. Because if something is wrong for once, even if let's say if you're sick psychologically, if your confidence is really down, you just lost 2 games in a row, then you're basically the only one who can get yourself out of there. And when I'm physically sick, okay, I've never. Fortunately, I've never been really physically sick during a tournament. Like at mostly some cold or some lack of sleep or something. And sometimes when you feel like your mind is not really 100% there, it actually helps you forget about all the unimportant stuff. Because when your brain is working really, really actively, at least for me, that's the case. Sometimes a lot of superfluous thoughts get in your way. You start even you can think about some song during a game or what you saw yesterday in the city. It's whenever actually one time at the World Junior Championship under 20 in 2018, I think it was in Turkey. The tournament went quite well for me, but at some point I messed it up a bit, and I was playing the last round just for the rating and not to win any big prize. And I stayed up until 3 a.m. playing cards with a couple of friends. The round was at 10 in the morning, and I did this quite consciously because I slept for like 6 hours. It's not too little, and it's of course not enough to be really well rested. But at the end of it, I felt like I could really focus on the game and forget about everything else, because I was just like, I'm sitting here at the board, I don't have to go anywhere, I'm just very comfortable, I can relax and think about it. It's quite strange, but I think sometimes it even helps you because it shows you what's important.
What sort of cards were you playing?
No, I think we were just playing some poker, but don't worry. Even if money was lost, it was not much. So.
Was it Texas Hold'em? Was Texas?
Yeah,
seems to be
popular. I think so.
Yeah, Texas Hold'em seems to be popular among the chess players.
Yeah,
Some of them morphed into
I'm
pop
very
poker.
thrilled that you're part of what we're doing this weekend, giving people something to look forward to, something fun to engage in, because we're not really the great grand chess masters, but we get to kind of guess who's going to win. This is fun for me because I get to talk to the players before they go. But I thank you so much for giving up your time to play this with us. And Sasha has worked very hard at getting this event built up, and I think it's gonna be so much fun because we're gonna have people watching you play, guessing your moves. When you're guessing your moves, we got to get in your mind, right? We have to get in your mind now. It would be kind of cool to put a chip in there and go, what move is he going to make now? But maybe you and I can work out signals, right?
Sure. Yeah. This is how the best scams get started.
That's true. Actually, chess, they had a lot of cheating because people would put something in their ear and they would go to a computer and the computer would tell them what the moves were and stuff. But they stopped all that. So I think they try to eliminate that. But believe it or not,
I'm
not sure how the ICC does it. Yeah.
In our contest, it's very difficult to cheat simply because of the fact that because we see the faces of players,
right,
and how they can relay whatever moves they're about to do, and also what's in it for them. Let's say, okay, I can relay Nick. Let's say I'm playing the game, and I relay Nick whatever move. I mean, why would I do that? What's my benefits of doing that? So Nick will send me 25 cents.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, we're not going to cheat here. I'm going to enjoy being able to watch. Again, one of the greatest times I've had on a TV set with Nick was when they broke out the chessboard. It was my first time ever watching speed chess, and I had so much fun watching. I didn't get to participate. You don't want to play me. My mind goes everywhere else, but that was a lot of fun. We have two... Dr. Tula joining us. He has been with us since the COVID-19 crisis began. Dr. Tula is a surgeon in India and had come in contact with someone, and in order to not just protect himself but other people, he put himself in some quarantine, which I thought was very honorable as well as very smart, right? Because a lot of times people don't think about that. Well, they think I got to keep working. So I know it was a very big challenge for him to walk away from the things he loves to do every day. But what he did instead was he came on our show every day. And thank you, welcome. Yeah. So we have this handshake, Alex. It's this and this. And
I think the chess players also came up with the they did an elbow check at the candidates tournament. It looked quite funny, but okay. No,
they
do this in India routinely, so it actually works.
Namaste, but we also do the spread the love, elbow touch, and then our global connection and our community, right?
There are many ways for this. Anyway, I think my time is about up. So
thank you very, very much, and looking forward to see you on Saturday.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you. You have fun, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What a cutie. He's so young. Oh my gosh. He's and so well.
I'll tell you, the
well.
girls will be fighting for his attention.
Oh Lord, this is going to make it hard. When you meet the people playing, it's very, very hard to sit there and go, who am I going to vote for? Who am I going to bet on? But anyway, welcome, Dr. Tula. We haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing?
Thank you, Kim. Good to see you, Nick, and good to see our dear friend back again, Sasha the Great.
And Mohammed, welcome.
And Mr. Mohammed, it's good to see you again. And of course, Ankit, a pleasure always.
Thank you, sir.
So how are things where you're at? You're out of quarantine?
Yeah, ma'am. So I am out of quarantine. It looks good at the moment, but unfortunately, our lockdown has got extended, so we are at home only.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But at home,
And the area where I live, so India also has started doing a little bit of containment thing. So the area which I live has also come into the containment zone. So now we are locked out completely. So we are not allowed to go out, and I mean essential supplies are being at this moment given access to us, and we are supposed to absolutely be in complete lockdown at the moment.
wow. Ankit, is that the same with you, right?
Yeah, we are live in the same city. I mean, we have a national capital region which covers three states and a couple of cities. So that is what the part where Dr. Tula May and Mohammed lives. And it's containment because you know that because we have been locked down since around 4 weeks of time, but still we have cases growing. Like the numbers are still growing. It's not like what's in US, but still the numbers are growing, and that is what because people are still not obeying the rules, and then we have to be a little more strict. And then you know that we are concerned each and every life of India, and that's why we have to extend the lockdown. And I think Dr. Tula would agree that there is nothing else but the lockdown could save India.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's difficult for us to take care of the current situation because it's a big population with more than 1 billion people and so many cities and villages. And if it spreads down to our tier two, tier three, tier five cities and villages, it's difficult for us, for any one of us to contain. So I think that's why the lockdown has happened. Although what's happening is that we have figured out the hotspots. So cities we are which they
Fair.
don't have any quarantine cases as well. I'm not talking about the COVID cases, quarantine. They will also start opening up in layers, as Abhijit was mentioning on the yesterday's show, and it will be also opening in layers. So first essential items, and then second essential items, and then so on and so forth. So that is what the plan is, and then also on the basis of the review, if we found that there is some quarantine cases coming up on those places, we will again go for a lockdown. So that
No,
is what the strategy for the government and all these state governments are working on the same platform. That's what going on right now. But rest, Dr. Tulla would be sharing how the doctor fraternity coming up because we are seeing a lot of news from past couple of weeks that they are also suffering with this pandemic, not in terms of COVID, but also in different sides of what's happening. Sir, what's the news?
So actually, what is happening in the India front when it comes to the COVID warriors, that means the doctors, the nurses, and the technicians who are the forefront of this pandemic. The problem is that, see, at the moment, maximum cases are going to government hospitals. Unfortunately, I mean, despite, I mean, running around here and there, they are still scrambling for these personal protection equipment and all that. So ultimately, I mean, see, we're not in a very war-ready state to tackle this. I mean, we're just trying to do something here and there, and that's what is happening. I mean, honestly speaking, at the moment, government hospitals, that means the public hospitals are the one where the people are exposed the most. Private sectors, though they are ready to treat and take in patients, but the load is not great. And I mean, they are much better ready as compared to the government hospitals. So hopefully, I'm presuming that it should not come to the, I mean, condition where we have loads and loads of patients coming into the hospitals. I mean, the best way in India is always going to be, I mean, social distancing and trying to keep them indoors, because ultimately, not a lot of people understand. I mean, we've been seeing these breaches happening here and there in every city. I mean, religious or non-religious or whatever you want to call them. But I mean, that's something which unfortunately is not going to give us any relief. We need to be pragmatic. We need to understand what the scenario where we are in, and I mean that's the only where we can, I mean, try to defeat this virus. Otherwise, we are in for a very long haul.
No, I so much agree with you. You know, I think it's our faith and our prayers and everything that are keeping us as calm as we can possibly get at home. But I think we need to be very transparent and very informative and provide the knowledge that people need in order to why they need to stay home, why it's important, because so many people, they don't believe that this is really necessary and they're not paying attention. We keep hearing about outbursts. But, you know, we see this in books and science fiction over the years where you always have that rebellion group, right? But I think transparency and knowledge, which is something that they did not give us in the very beginning, and I think we're still learning about it, just like we learned this morning. That we still don't know enough about this virus, even with babies. We don't know enough, and it's why not, you know, play it on the safe side. Why not do things on the safe side rather than take all of these risks and maybe get other people sick as well as yourself? So there's a lot of common sense, as we've been talking with Rakesh. In Hong Kong, they used a lot of common sense rules, and they feel very comfortable and confident. But you guys have, you know, a very heavily concentrated population that you have to protect. I mean, I hate saying it, but it's like one person can sneeze and thousands of people can get sick, right? It could be that dangerous. And you have remained in lockdown for a very long time. You don't want to get reinfected, or you know, you don't want to get infected. You've assured yourself that you're not. So now is the time to be a little more respectful at this point, humble and respectful, and listen to the people that are with us and sharing with us all of this knowledge. I have received a notification from one of the doctors that comes on our show that he has some good news to share with us tomorrow. So we'll hopefully hear some good news. But, you know, everybody's going, oh, the end is here. You know, we flatline in some areas. You know, India has shown a lot of good promising results based on how you control the situation. But I don't think the end is near, Dr. Tula. I agree with you. I think we're just beginning um, the stages of what a real lockdown means to us at home and what it means to us in our community. And I think people just need to get comfortable. What do you think?
So we will have to learn to live with this. Unfortunately, I don't want to sound pessimistic,
You're
but
not.
I mean, honestly speaking, I don't see the end to this tunnel at the moment. We will have a lot of work to do before we get to the end of the tunnel, or we see the light at the end of the tunnel, whatever you want to call it. Because at this moment, we ourselves, no country is able to contain it fully. There are phases when a country seems to control something, and then you have fresh cases walking in. And honestly speaking, if you're looking at breaking the transmission chain, then we have to ensure that the virus does not remain, and that is only possible if the chain of infection is contained. Now, whether that is done, I mean, manually, that means that by social distancing or trying to remain away from each other and breaking this chain, or by a vaccine, whatever it is, we'll have to do that. So ultimately, I believe at the end of the day, the treatments, whatever we are talking about, whether that be plasma treatment, whether that be hydroxychloroquine, whether that be the antiviral drugs which are used in HIV and other viral infections, I mean, they're all on anecdotal reports, or I mean, of reports where there is no concrete data to support that one line of treatment is going to work for anything. They're basically, what is happening at the moment in medicine is that a lot of things are being tried. So apparently, in certain settings they are working, in certain settings they are not working. We do not have cumulative data to suggest whether this works or that works. And then there is a deep mistrust between countries also. So apparently, if India promotes something or says this is going to work, I'm not very sure the other countries are going to, I mean, latch onto it, as we have seen in the case of China also. So they had these some papers coming in from China where they were telling that this may be a presumptive treatment. People are not taking it very seriously. I mean, they are still distrustful They don't trust them completely on that count. So I mean, there is going to be a little bit of, I mean, it's still time before we get to the end of the tunnel. And I think we should be more pragmatic. We should, I know it is a challenging time, but we should try to remain cool, calm, and try to dissociate ourselves and try to stay as much as indoors possible, because I don't think anything else is going to work at this moment except staying home, put and trying to stay as safe as possible in the confines of the four walls of your home.
No, and I agree with you. I think we need to heed that warning. There's no reason for us to get all excited, but I think you're right. I think we're looking at just treatments. Treatments are not the answer. They're just a band-aid, as Nick always says, but they're just a means to maybe help people get through whatever's happening with a little bit of quality of life, or maybe help them pass on. So these treatments, they're not proven. So we can't just leap like we were doing weeks ago, where somebody's going, "Oh, we got the malaria," da, 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 you know. No, people, we got to calm down. We got to think things through. We got to try them out. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be guinea pigs for, I hate saying the word guinea pig, but we're going to be test for a lot of this. And I am used to being the test because I have one of the world's rarest diseases. So I'm very used to, first off, I'm very used to my insurance going, no, we're not going to pay for that because we never heard of it. But I'm very used to, okay, Kim, we're going to try this. This has never been tried before. And I have to take that, I have to weigh that. Is the benefit worth the risk sometimes? So we're at that point right now. We have to let all of these things try out and pan out. And if they're working for some people, great. But I kind of go along with you, and also along with some of the things Nick had shared. You might be testing these things on the people when they're almost dying, or it might have been tried on them so we don't have enough data to know, did it really work, and will it really work for everyone else, right? And that's some of the data we have to start collecting. And again, these are just treatments. These are not the answer. I think we're 2 years away from a vaccine. I really do. I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor.
I think as we discussed earlier, that a lot of companies are working on the vaccines and there are a lot of trials going on. And I think the whole world is looking for a vaccine. So I think this time we'll get a vaccine a little soon as compared to the regular time. I think that is what the way forward. What do you think, Dr.
Because Kim, they've already started giving concessions on the trial. So previously you had to go through stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3 trials. Now what has happened is, all in all emergency situations, the medical bodies of every country basically gives them the option of going with a lesser sample size and then speeding the trial, so that they can just go with the animal testing, do it for a certain period of time, and suddenly jump straight to the human test. Right? Of course, it is due to volunteering. You have to have volunteers for that, but that is the way it is working at the moment. So presumably, if all goes well, we should be seeing a vaccine by the end of the year, because at this moment, as Ankit has also told, there are approximately around 30 companies, maybe even more, who are actually working on this. So but the only problem what I see is that if they have a vaccine, that's okay. But what about the virus? Does the virus stay, or does it mutate, or does it change its character? Because you don't know. Because today also there was a news in South Korea also that 160 people have tested positive again, despite getting 100% cured. So that is also a challenge, because you don't know how the immunity is going to. Apparently we know that once you have a viral infection, the chances of you in comparison of getting infected again is going to relatively very less as compared to people who have not been exposed to a virus. So this virus seems to be very different. So it's not giving. I do agree with you that maybe they're getting infected again and they're not getting that virulent kind of infection, but that only time will tell. It's very difficult to predict at this moment how the virus is going to behave over a period of time.
So that's, facts are very important. I always believe that if you have facts, you can know what to do, right? That lessens your fears, knowledge lessens the fears. But what you're sharing is very scary information, because people are becoming reinfected, or maybe it never left to begin with. They never really were cured 100%. We don't know yet. People were sent home, they get sick again, they come back. We know that it's contagious before you have symptoms. I can't fathom, because I've heard stories, I can't fathom what the symptoms are, because we know that it tears the insides of the lungs. We know that it's spiky and it goes in and it does all of these things. So I can't fathom what the fear is of having to re-go through it again, right? Can you imagine? Woohoo, I'm done. I'm going home. I can't imagine that story. I don't even want to go there. But these people are having to, and we don't know why. But this is a virus, unlike any other virus we've ever had to deal with. It's shut the whole world down. We joked many years ago when Raleigh got shut down because of an ice storm. In 1 hour, all of Raleigh shut down. We couldn't even get our children home from school. So I look back at that because of some of the things that people blame the governor for not closing the schools down sooner. You can't close it down. I mean, 1 hour, everything's shut down. People could not get from place to place in 1 hour. That feels like, to me, that kind of feels like this, right? And just instantly we shut down. But this is life or death shut down. This, and this is scary. And I think you're right. Stay home. That's our motto. That's our drug. That's the drug we tell everybody. Mohammed, share with us what's going on in your world. You've been volunteering some services. Is there some things that we can do to help with what's going on with you?
See, everything is right now a mix of positive news and negative news. So I'm just sharing the positive news for the global community. See, India, being a pharmacy of the world, started supplying medicine across the world, and by 2020, by 20th of April, we will be freely supplying medicine across the world. We have already, all the manufacturers in India resumed the manufacturing, and now we started producing every medicine, whatever essential medicine right now required by the global community. We are capable, and we are completely 100% started supplying medicine by 20th of this April. See, this is one of the most important thing. When an army start fighting with the invaders or whatever, so they require the backup support. So medicine is a backup support. Medicine is either gives life or death. So life is behind that. So we are ready to support the whole community with the ready medicine. So this is positive news, one thing. And see, yes,
Mohammed,
and
I think
this is
we would welcome our special guest,
yes.
Mihail Marin from Romania, and he's a grandmaster, chess grandmaster from Romania. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hello, good evening. Good evening from Romania.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. And now we have two for the price of one. We have Grandmaster Mihail Marin.
I would say three.
Oh,
How lovely.
bravo, lovely. And we have his wife, who is a very famous painter. And hopefully she's an artist. She will show some of the beautiful work of her as well. So, Maria, can we ask you to show us some of your work, please?
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Maybe I start with a chess player from.
With something very American,
yes.
let's say.
Okay.
Something very,
yes,
very American.
This one.
Oh,
wow. Oh my God. What a lovely picture.
Thank you.
You're very talented. Very, very
very big painting, and one of my favorite painting with Santorini, Greece. I love this one. Oh, but maybe it's not not.
Oh wow, that's very
Oh,
sassy. I love it.
lovely.
Love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love it.
In a times like this, to see such a colorful pictures, it's
Right.
fantastic.
It brightens up
Great.
the room in this dark time that we're living. What a bright, colorful. You know what? We're going to be doing a arts, music, and fashion festival weekend coming up. What we're trying to do is get artists to come and do a show, you know, for a few minutes of their artwork if they want to try to auction it off. And then we got musicians that are going to be coming and playing their songs. So we'll have to get you registered for this. And
That would be great. Really.
I kind of want to explain to Dr. Tula and Mohammed, we're preparing for Saturday's big event. We got the chess event Saturday, and you can go to Chess Masters and register. You'll get free crowns, and you get to guess each person's move with your crowns, and there's a chance to win some money. And I'll let Sasha explain that later. But what we're doing is meeting the Grand Chess Master players that are going to be playing each other on Saturday. And so welcome. Yeah, there we go.
We already had Alexander Donchenko, and so we had a very good interview with him. And now we are going to have double interview with Maria and Mikhail. Maria, one question to you. When and how did you learn such wonderful art? Is it what you are doing?
Probably.
Когда вы начали учить?
Probably yes. I remember.
Ну, когда вы учились рисовать?
In St. Petersburg, I studied probably 9 years with my teacher, but not in academy. It's a private lecture.
Mikhail, you know that I understood everything what you told her.
Well, I have my feelings about your understanding about Russian.
Yes, I understood everything what you told her. Mikhail, tell me about yourself. How did you learn to play chess? Because you're a world-renowned grandmaster. Also, you wrote a lot of fabulous books about chess. How did you learn? How did you become so strong grandmaster?
Well, first of all, I'm not such a strong grandmaster. I'm just a grandmaster. Okay, I mean, okay. If I look back to my career, of course, there were many moments when I said, "Wow, I'm good. I'm really good." But now, if I look back, I understand that I hope that I didn't play my best game ever. I hope that I didn't play my best tournament ever.
It's coming on Saturday.
Oh yeah, maybe. But it was my father who taught me how to play chess at the age of 4.
Oh,
and actually he was a very big chess fan. Okay, an amateur he was, and he named me. He called me Mikhail, and not Mihai, because in Romania we have Mihai. There is also Mikhail, but okay, it's more of Russian influence.
It's a Russian, yes, Mikhail.
And because okay, he knew about Stahl and Botvinnik, the world champions from the Soviet Union. And well, in communist times, okay, you know something about it. It was good to be a sportsman or to excel in some field like music or sports, or
so you could travel.
Yes, because otherwise no travel. Otherwise, I understood that in the Soviet Union things were a little bit easier, but in Romania, no chess player, no travel, something like that. And my father.
Well, now it's coronavirus anyway, so you can travel.
Yes,
but in Soviet Union, it was always coronavirus.
So okay, I actually the merit for me continuing to study chess after I started to play at the age of 4, because there was some crisis moment between the age of 10, 12. It's my father's. At the age of 13, I was already learning alone. I had all these Soviet magazines, Shakhmati Bulletin, 64.
Oh, you could read Russian at that time, yeah?
Well, no, I knew the alphabet, of course, but I understood some things. I learned Russian only during the army time, because we had some technical weapon, meaning that we were just sitting in a classroom and doing nothing. So I was learning. I was using a chess book and a dictionary to learn some Russian. But it was like,
but Robert Fischer did, remember? Robert Fischer learned Russian just enough to read Russian chess magazines.
Yes, and he received all these. Yes, Bobby Fischer, whom we saw earlier in Maria's.
Yes, exactly.
No, but he also received all these magazines I mentioned. I received 4 of them. Maybe there are more. I don't know. Somebody wrote, maybe Suetin, that Fischer is studying our literature more diligently than our whole Olympic team taken together.
Exactly. Very good point.
Yes. No, he was a fanatic. He knew everything what was published, and of course he was also used his criteria to discern what is right, what is wrong. And about me, of course, for me, Fischer will be forever the best, the greatest player
of all time.
But okay, I was then more influenced by Korchnoi, and then Karpov. These were my, maybe also Portish to a certain extent, but because Fischer retired, okay, I could never forgive him for retiring. And then, okay, yes, somehow everything went right for me. I mean, I tried becoming a strong chess player because it was worth it in communist times. And then when I already had, let's say, an international level class, then the communists fell apart and the borders opened. So then I could travel and play, and maybe it would have been good if communism lasted for a few more years. I would have become even stronger. Because this way I started playing. You know, you have Spain. Spain, it's your own. You make good money by playing in tournaments. You spend the summer there, and then you return to Romania almost rich. But the level was not such. So maybe 2 or 3 more years of communism in that moment would have helped me.
Mikhail, I have one remark. When you said that you are just a grandmaster, not a strong grandmaster, we just discussed here on the show, on more than one occasion, that in a world there are more billionaires than grandmasters. And we don't divide billionaires. Here is a strong billionaire, there is a weak billionaire, there are billionaires, and grandmasters, the same thing. There are grandmasters. There are no weak and strong or so. There are just grandmasters. Tell me, you're traveling a lot. Should I ask some trivial questions? For example, what's your favorite food or dish that you order in restaurants?
You know, this is one thing which I half jokingly answer when Maria asks me if I like what she cooked. Actually, she cooks very well. My joking answer is, look, I have been in the Romanian army for 9 months. So there is no such thing as a favorite food. I can eat anything. I mean, like
carbonara.
No,
Carbonara.
Okay.
Favorite food is carbonara.
Spaghetti alla carbonara. Yes. Okay. If
nice.
It's heavy, but it's good. Yeah, that's my thing. Yes.
Tell me, you agree with the fact that because of coronavirus, couples are staying together for a long time? Do you think that in 9 months we will have a lot of divorces and a lot of babies?
Look, it's hard to say because, okay, for me and Maria, life didn't change that much because, okay, well, there is one thing which now doesn't happen. Earlier we traveled with a frequency of, let's say, 1 in 1 month or 1.5 months. And for instance, in winter, we were away from home, just traveling by car 14,000 kilometers through Europe. So that was 1.5 months or maybe more. So, okay, that was kind of extreme, but we frequently travel. Now we don't travel anymore, but when we stay at home, life didn't really change for us. I mean, I work on the computer, she paints, she also works on her chess sometimes. And we don't really go to visit friends so frequently or... so for us...
one question, do you still keep your Mercedes?
Yes. Actually, I have my Mercedes, but okay, the brain has 2 halves. So is this thing, okay, Mercedes? Well, I just drove it today, but okay, you have to have some counterbalance, and nothing is better to counterbalance a Mercedes than a BMW. And
You
I
tell
also,
us that you already bought BMW?
yeah. It's almost same generation. It's a 5 Series E39. Okay, it's quite old, but I invested a lot on it, and it's really And
Yeah, nice.
I bought for Maria because Maria she needs an automat. She has been driving the BMW, but it's difficult somehow for her the gears and so on. So she wanted something smaller, and she was talking, of course, about classy. But now I got her BMW Series 1. Actually,
Oh,
but
nice.
actually, it's a very strong engine, like for
Yeah,
X3.
nice.
It's one of the strongest Series 1.
And beautiful color.
And beautiful color, yes.
Very beautiful.
So now that we are at home, when I go shopping or whatever to visit my father, who is 94, we take them in turns. I mean, okay, today is the Mercedes, today is the first BMW, now is the small one.
Nice, very beautiful. Tell me, please, what is your ever favorite chess books? Not counting your own books that you wrote, but ones that you read.
I don't remember so well my books, so I would not count them as because I'm writing so much. I don't really remember them so well. No, it's difficult to name just one book. Well,
no, 2, 3. You can.
For instance, a decisive book was this book I was using in the army. The book with Rubinstein's best games. It was the Soviet collection, the Black collection with great players of the world. So I just took a book because I didn't know who Rubinstein was. I said, okay, it's probably not the best book in my library. If I lose it in the army time, there is no big deal. But then I got in love with his technical style and everything. But Tal's book In the Fire of the Attack, Vagone Atake, Tal was really such a romantic. I mean, not only his play, but his feelings, his approach, his stories. I mean, he was such a romantic child during his whole life. Lowenstein also. No. For me, Fischer is the Fischer. Fischer is the guy who is reached a level who it's hard to reach. But if I think of who was the greatest giant, let's say after the Second World War, after today, I think that without any concurrent, this is Korchnoi. I mean, he was never a world champion, but he was the man who, at the age of 30, understood that he was playing not the right chess, that he didn't understand chess so well. He was already a Soviet champion twice or 3 times. He was a world title, no, until that moment. And then at the age of 30, he started learning chess again. And this process ended when he was 40. And the only reason why, and indeed, his matches with Karpov happened after he turned 40, until he turned 50 in Merano. And he didn't become a world champion for the simple fact that, Karpov was by 20 years younger. So for Korchnoi, this started a bit late, the process of really becoming. But his thoughts, his ideas, his everything. I mean, his style. I mean, he's somewhere. If he was younger, then he would be a very big concurrent for Fischer as the best player from all the times. But his results were slightly marred by and he was not practical. Karpov, he had a fantastic understanding. Korchnoi was not talented. Karpov was talented, and he could just decide, this is a good move, I make it. So this is very practical. Korchnoi was not practical. He was looking for the truth. And he got frequently into time troubles. He also got tired during the games many times. So this is why he didn't reach better results.
One remarkable thing about Korchnoi is that unlike anybody else, he played 6 generations of chess players.
And he beat these kids like these kids. You heard about them: Caruana, Grishuk, Zvidler, Gelfand. I mean, he just wiped the board with them, occasionally like this. When he was 70 or even 80, he just wiped the board with Caruana with black when he was 80.
Do you remember that he drew his match with, I think, Karyakin when Korchnoi was
6 probably?
Not sure.
With Ponomarev.
Oh, Ponomarev, yeah? Oh,
yes.
I think you're right. You're right. Ryakin was his coach.
Yes. And he destroyed Bakro, for instance. Bakro, when Bakro was, he beat him 4.5, I believe, to 1.5 or something like. Maybe it was 4-2. I don't know. No.
Tell me, please, Mikhail, what do you think about this candidates tournament in Russia, which was either adjourned or cancelled or something? What do you think will happen now?
Look, first of all, I very together with Maria, actually, we were very strongly hoped that the tournament will take place, and
Yes.
we appreciated somehow that Russia. Okay, I know. Okay, they are somehow outside the European, the other circles. They are on their own. So I appreciated that at that time they had no quarantine and they had the strength to organize this, the moral strength to start the tournament. Especially that it was somewhere Yekaterinburg, far from anything. I mean, so I was glad to see that. And when it was cancelled, yes, okay. Apparently, there was no other solution because for some reasons Putin still decided to start the quarantine and close the suspend the flights. So
yes.
That's a pity. But now it's a very complicated situation. I mean, we have Rajabov. Rajabov has his rights somehow because he just said that he wants to play, but just to postpone the tournament. I know they postponed it, but the other players they went there. Some of them didn't want to go there because they were afraid of the situation, and they went there and they played. So they also have a right. I mean, what do you mean? Sorry, this is the dog. So what do you mean now? You are the Rajabov. That's also a question. So it's not. I mean, it's not easy to take a decision. I wouldn't like to be in Fidesz shoes.
I totally agree with you. The only thing, what I feel strongly, that very, very big error committed by Caruana. Caruana should have never agreed to go there in a situation like this with coronavirus. And if Caruana wouldn't go, there would be no tournament.
Yeah, probably, yes.
And everything would be nicely. It will be postponed until maybe 3 months, 5 months, whatever it takes. But that would be a real tournament. And Rajabov, I think he was right to refuse to play. And now he has claimed that he spent over $100,000 to prepare for the tournament. And, he might have a valid claim against FIDE. Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe not. Yeah, we'll see. Okay.
Yeah.
So, tell me, are there any interesting books that you're writing now?
Well, I just I finished a book on the Dutch Leningrad. It was a few months, I believe it was in December. But then I made some last corrections suggested by the publishing house, and it will be 2 volumes. It's a repertoire for black. So the Leningrad Dutch. And my next project is, my most successful book is about the legends, learn from the legends. And now it will be some another book of the same kind, only that it will be about players who were not world champions, but still very strong. I mean, Bronstein, Portish, Geller, Korchnoi, I had him already in the legend. Porugaevsky, Keres, Leonid Stein, Holmov, probably. I have a candidate. I have about 10, 11 candidates, but there will be 8. So, but anyway, I'm also writing now about players for this publishing house, electronic books, Modern Chess. So I did already of Korchnoi and Tal, and Fischer is next.
Yeah, Fischer. Fantastic. Tell me, please, what you and Maria, what music do you like to listen most?
About music, we like some Italian music and Spanish music. Old music, some about Celentano, Toto Cutugno.
Popular music, yeah.
Okay, classic.
We also we also love also both love classical music, but there is one difference. I'm used to hear classical music and opera also on the radio, but for Maria this is not natural because she used to go very frequently to the theater, to the musical theater in St. Petersburg. So for her, it's not natural to listen it on the radio. But
so Maria, you like to listen to operas?
Yes.
You like operas?
Yes,
What's your favorite?
I more like ballet. It's my favorite.
Oh,
it's my favorite.
Swan Lake.
No, my favorite is Carmen.
Carmen, of course,
Carmen.
but it's opera. But it's opera. It's not a ballet.
Oh, ballet.
No, there is
Carmen.
also ballet.
By Shedrin, right?
No, I believe that it's a transcription from the opera.
Yes, small difference. Yes.
Yeah, it's a transcription from Bizet's Carmen for ballet.
Oh, you're talking about Carmen Suite, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Carmen Suite, yeah. That one, okay. Yeah, because obviously
it's very beautiful, but it's a short ballet, but it's so beautiful.
I see. Okay. So tell me, you what is your thinking about how Romania is handling the coronavirus issue?
Look,
is it going down now?
It started about this quarantine started more than 1 month ago, but I believe in Romania only about 300 people died. So I'm not really sure why they are doing all this, because it's obviously ruining the economy. Apparently, all the countries from Eastern Europe are quite safe. I mean, in Russia there are about 300-400.
Yes.
And there are quite a lot. 150 million.
No, all these countries like Poland, Baltic countries, they're all doing okay. There's no huge outbreak. They're doing okay.
But we have strong restrictions. I mean, if you don't have, you have to fill in a paper before you leave your to say where you are going, to sign it, everything. If you don't have it, you get a big fine. I mean, it can be 200 or 500 euros, something like this. There is some strong restriction, but I believe it's all politics, because Europe.
In Toronto, if you drive a car and you're stopped and you can't explain where you're going and so on,
they stopped us twice when we're living outside Bucharest in a small. It's like some sort of residential area, but it's a village. And here we didn't have controls. Some they didn't stop us. But twice we have been to my father lately in the last week, and they stopped us every time. And the first time they were very, very kind, but the second time they were kind of yes. You forgot to put the date. Yes, I put the date on Maria's paper and not on mine. So they were kind of like this. Okay, they didn't find me, but they were kind of brutal. So I think that it is not so good, because it gives too much power to everything, which means police and bodyguards and army. So I don't think we are moving to something good.
Tell me, Mikhail, are you teaching Maria to play chess?
She plays my openings. Many of them.
But I don't remember opening. I play, but not correct.
But somehow she feels the openings but okay, we don't do it on a systematic basis. Just during tournaments, because at home she paints a lot. I have my articles, and then now with the quarantine we also play a lot of Blitz online. So sometimes I show her, look, I have good memory, even if it's Blitz. I have good memory. I can show her then the game. So it's not systematic, but yes, no. But when we met in Tallinn 2016, and then a couple of weeks after that we met in Vilnius. We had our first. I was there for 5 days. She stayed longer, but I couldn't. I had to return home, and It was then that I asked her to marry, and she kind of accepted. And it was Vin. Okay, it was the Russian Christmas. You know, I mean, okay, special in January.
Oh yeah.
So, you know how we spent the whole day. We first took a very long breakfast. It was like a brunch in some coffee shop, and we played chess all the time. They had in Wien, they had smoking areas. Smoke there inside these, and then somewhere around 6 o'clock we moved to a restaurant, our restaurant Leopold, and they also had a smoking area. And then we had dinner and we continued playing chess the whole time. And okay, she has a very good connection with her mother, and they're communicating through WhatsApp. And the mother wanted pictures from Wien. And
nice.
Was alarmed, but you are in Wien and you are playing chess. What is this? And then we had to walk for half an hour to make a lot of pictures of the nice things in the center, so that the mom would be happy. So this was very intense. I mean, we played tens of games. No chess block. Just.
That reminds me when Nava, my wife, and I, when we are going on vacation, for example, to Aruba, we are going quite often. We play about 30 blitz games, 5 minutes each. Every day, at least 30, sometimes more. It's like a non-stop. It goes all the time. Now I want to introduce Nick Polivera. He is 3 times Florida chess champion. Nick, do you have any questions, please?
Yeah, I, as I tell people, I used to be good, but that was in a prior life, you know. And afterwards, it's too tough to play. I mean, you know, actually, law school ended my chess career. You know, I'd reached, I think, 2257, and I had a choice: go chess or go law school. And I went to law school, so I became an attorney as opposed to a chess player. But
what's your rating in law?
They don't have ratings in law. You just get a lot of, you know, the thing is you just get a degree, you get admitted to practice before all these courts. And unfortunately, it's very rigorous. You spend all your time studying law, just like if you're going to be a good chess player, you got to spend all your time studying chess. Back then, there were very few attorneys that were also chess players. In other words, that reached master strength, like I was. I was USCF master. And even today, there are no chess players who are grandmasters who are billionaires. As I was telling Sasha, the math on this is this: there are more billionaires in the world than there are chess grandmasters. There are about 1,500 people in the world who have reached the rank of grandmaster. There are 2,400 people who are billionaires. So here's the reality: it's easier to become a billionaire. So, Mikhail, time to become a billionaire, right?
Yeah.
Just remember, it's
almost any idiot can become a billionaire, but
That's
not
true,
every
but not
billionaire can become.
It's harder. I mean,
become a grandmaster.
And part of it is you have to be good when you're young, and you can't start later on in life. In reality, Sam Walton, who founded Walmart stores, was in his 60s before he started Walmart stores. You know, because you can actually find a business later on in life and make a lot of money. So that's not a problem. But if you're in your 60s and you say, I want to become a chess grandmaster, not happening. I mean, that's just the name of the game. I think if you're not good by the time you're in your 20s, over. So when you were younger, were you good in high school, Mikhail?
No, I was quite a good people in school, high school. Okay, in the Polytechnic Institute, I was already becoming strong at chess. And after the first year in the institute, I finished the institute, but in the first year I was really, I was getting high marks. I was the best in my group. But then chess became too important, and I just finished the university, the Polytechnic. I just wanted to have and it was also a good mental education, because now I'm a chess writer mainly. And somehow, as an engineer, I can find some logic. Of course, literature and Polytechnic don't have much in common, but it's still some sort of mathematics in them. You have to keep some balance between ideas, and so I think it helped me. But in high school, I was
what we call systematic thinking. Systematic.
Yes, and a global image about because you write a book, there has to be some structure.
Yes,
you have to keep something growing, or or changing or whatever,
Sure.
but it has to be flowing somehow.
Right. Is your wife the famous chess artist by any chance?
Yes, she's Maria.
Seriously,
Yeah.
really? Right. Well, I love her work. I mean,
Okay.
I was looking at it. First of all, I'm like into art, so I went to go to the Hermitage in St. Petersburg, Russia, and I had to go to the Louvre in Paris. I've been there several times, and just got back from the Uffizi, but that was in October, so it was before the Uffizi in Italy had problems. So we went through. My wife and I went through Florence, looking at all the artwork. And I saw your artwork, and it's chess artwork. I was going, "This is really great," and I was so the thing is, who's the famous chess artist? It's you, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
We post a lot on Facebook.
Oh, you do? No, it's great. I mean, I was looking at it, I said, wow, I've never seen anything like it. But
we also post
fantastic.
her frequently.
What?
We also post her frequently. She's
Yeah.
but she's not famous.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it needs to be in the famous.
Artist yet.
Yeah, well, I need to get some of that artwork before it's unaffordable. You know, 'cause it does happen. I mean, you'd be surprised to see all of a sudden.
Let God hear you, and then you'll have them. If God hears them,
What we should do is put some of your artwork on IBM TV, okay? Because we have in our business plan to have an art channel, but we need artwork.
Well, we also are going to have an art festival weekend, music, art, and fashion.
Yeah.
So, we'll stay in touch.
We got to get there, but Kim, she has fantastic.
I know. I was there before you came on, so
yeah, she's got some.
Sitting
You
and
got to see some of her artwork. It's just absolutely amazing. You
Oh,
know?
so here's the thing. We're
Yeah.
at a very dark time, and it's bright and colorful, and it's sassy. She's got some sassy work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very attractive. It's just, it's beautiful. I love it. It's alive. Your
Right.
music is alive, and during this dark time, I think it awakens people. But yet, no. And then we got this great chess tournament coming this weekend that's going to give us something to do.
Yeah.
There would be, people get to guess the moves. Nick, are you going to register and get your crowns?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the thing is, I think we talked to his opponent.
And yeah, we're going to be doing a watch party with you guys. So while you guys are playing, we're going to be no pressure here.
No
but
pressure.
IBM TV and our guests are going to be watching you live.
All over the world, no pressure.
All over the world, no pressure.
Right.
But, just curious, and it's got to be exciting for you to do something you love so much for so long. And coming up for a tournament, what do you do to prepare?
Well, actually, there was a time when I was a professional player. Now I'm a professional chess person.
Exactly.
I'm more of a writer, sometimes trainer, lecturer, and so on. So now I consider, this is how I earn my money mainly. Sometimes I get prizes in tournaments, but this doesn't count so much. So nowadays, I consider that I did a good preparation for the tournament if I finish my last article the day before I travel to the tournament. Because it frequently happens that I finish it during the second day in the evening or by night while I'm already playing. So earlier I used to solve a lot of puzzles, tactical puzzles, to get my mind.
Get your mind focused.
Yes, 1 week or 2 weeks before the tournament. No theory. I didn't touch theory. Just solve this. But now, it happens sometimes that I had 1 or 2 days for this, but it's rare because you have articles. It's worth writing them. Deadlines, everything. So, but now, now there is a bright side, not of the corona thing, but of the quarantine. I mean, it's that. So I have time to do my articles. I even look at the games on board, not only on the computer. We have time for gardening, which is an excellent sport.
Nice. Gardening kind of gets your mind in its fresh air, right?
Yes.
Just lets your mind release and all the fresh scents. I love gardening. Even the dirt smells good to me, right?
Yes.
and everything. I guess being locked down for this length of time, getting out into that fresh air is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, so we have our coffee and sometimes even breakfast in the
And
garden now.
another dog.
Another dog. Wow.
Yeah.
You're a big happy family, right?
Yeah, we also have a cat. We also have a cat, actually.
Are you in Bucharest? Is that where you're at right now?
Yes, we are actually outside Bucharest.
Outside Bucharest. Okay.
Well, it's basically Bucharest, but it's only houses, no big buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't belong to Bucharest, but it's basically Bucharest.
What is cool is we're doing this huge tournament, this huge chess tournament, and the players are at their homes, far, far, far away from each other, right? But yet we're all right here together. This is what's going to be cool, right?
Yes.
Social distancing, right? And the game goes on. It didn't stop thanks to Sasha and his ideas. And
you know what? The beauty of this tournament, or this match,
it's a match.
That all people, those who have coronavirus, those who don't have coronavirus, they all can watch it.
That's right. This is COVID-19 and 20 tournament. Yes. Doesn't matter.
Nice. Here, the last question I have. Who was ever the strongest player you faced over the chessboard?
I believe it was Karpov. Because I didn't play with Kasparov. Okay, I also played with Korchnoi 3 times, but let's say Karpov was a bit stronger, as he proved. The strongest player I beat was Shirov when he was number 2 in the world.
Wow!
After he beat Kramnik in the match.
Wow!
Right. So with Karpov I lost 2 games. I had my chances, but somehow Karpov, he was not young anymore, but somehow. No, I also played with Tal, with Spassky. With them, I drew.
Oh, really? You actually played with Tal?
Yes, in 1990, interzonal tournament.
Right.
He offered a draw twice. I offered once in between. So it was logically a draw in the end.
And you played Spassky?
Yes, with Spassky it was funny. The game also a draw. It was in 92, 93 in France. It was the team team championship. Mm-hmm. And he offered the draw after the opening. He was white. I said okay, and then we analyzed for 2 or 3 hours. Mm-hmm. I mean, and he explained, "Look, I love chess, but I don't have the. Look, I like to analyze. Right. Chess is beautiful, but I'm too old for play. I mean, not too old. He didn't say that, of course, but right. But I prefer to analyze. Mm-hmm. And then actually he moved to our team, the team in Belfort. And we even played together. I mean, the same team in the European Club Cup. We did well. We came second in our group, but I talked a lot with him. He was quite a pleasant. But that is 94, I believe. Mm-hmm. Now I know he's not so well with the health. Mm-hmm. But of course, my favorite is Korchnoi. I mean, I even had some small scandal with him during a game, but that is one of my dearest memories. Yeah, because Korchnoi was so conflictive his whole life. Right.
Yeah, he played for a long time, and he was good way into his late years. He still played really strong.
Yes, at the age of 50, he was still very strong. As I said, he beat Caruana. Caruana was the top 10 in the world, I believe. Right. But he had the first stroke, and somehow, yes, physically he was weaker. Then he started going down. Mm-hmm. It was actually a very unfortunate thing. The German chess magazine Schach, the publisher is Tishbirek, Grandmaster. He suggested me to take an interview to Korchnoi. Mm-hmm. And I wrote the questions, and he had some guy who knew Petra and Korchnoi, and he was supposed to pass the questions to them so that they answer it. And the fact is that Korchnoi died before he got to answer the question. It was just like this. I sent the questions, and 1 week later he died. So actually, but okay, I talked to him. I learned. I met him personally.
Did you ever run into Ron Henley or Larry Christensen from the United States?
I played with him in '87 at the Sirac Interzonal. It was a draw, very very interesting draw actually. After the game, he even told me, "Oh, very beautiful." I mean, there was a move he didn't expect. No, he was a great player and okay, quite a man, let's say. No, I know him. I also played Benjamin.
Joel Benjamin. You played.
Yeah. Nick De Firmian, I know he was a second to them, but he didn't play in Sirac. Well, Yasser Seirawan. Okay. I must confess something, even if Maria is here. Sometimes I get in love with men, but it was just that feeling.
Admiration.
Adriano Celentano with one of them, Domenico Modugno with Volare, and Yasser Seirawan. I mean, okay, it was that kind of love. I mean, it's no, don't understand anything wrong. But you are with the man for a few days. We were in the press center. I also played with him twice, two draws. We were in Baikanze, just in the press center, and he was just asked me to sit next to me, and he was telling stories. We were commenting it. No, Yasser is really fantastic. He, from the people I knew maybe the most charismatic one.
Wow.
But and a great player.
Who was the most charismatic? Which person?
Yasser Seirawan.
Oh, Yasser Seirawan, sure. Yeah, out of Seattle. Yes, of course.
The guy I fell in love with.
Right. Yeah, Yasser is
but in the good meaning.
Right. Yeah. He was out of Seattle, and he did. I met him once when I was in Seattle. I played Joel Benjamin 3 times. 2 losses, 1 draw. That's it. Usually when they get that strong, I'm on the other side of the stick here. So. But it's I mean, the way I looked at it when I used to play a lot, it's a real tough game. I mean, there's just no question about it. So playing that and winning and getting your ratings up and winning tournaments, there's got to be easier ways to make a living. So I went to law school. There's got to be an easier way to make this stuff. So you're playing in the match on Saturday?
Yes.
Yes. With the Domchenko.
Is he playing the German guy, Domchenko, that 22-year-old kid who's moving up?
We also met over the board.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, he looks to be a very serious player.
This is the tournament coming up, the build up. I always say Rocky.
What can I say about Domchenko? There are 4 German talents. Domchenko, Wagner, Rasmussen, and Bluebaum. And these guys, they were put in a category, the princes. There is not a generic category. No, there are just these 4 princes, and they got from the federation big support, and they all became a very strong player.
Right.
So Domchenko is one of them. He's originally from. I mean, he speaks Russian, of course. It's obvious from his family name. But a nice boy, a nice boy.
He speaks English also, so he speaks English very well.
And German, of course.
And German, yeah. Amazing.
I know. But I mean, he was born in the former Soviet Union territory.
Right.
No? It's right, no?
It's Russia.
I don't know exactly where, but somewhere in the Russian.
We should have found out.
By the way, his father was very strong international master Anatoly Domchenko.
Ah, really?
Oh, yeah.
The name sounds to me. Yes.
Wow.
Well, it was a family. The whole family is.
And his sister played too.
Yeah.
He was born into it.
What we didn't know, Sasha, we don't know where in Russia his family's from.
Domchenko.
Where?
It's Ukraine.
Oh, Ukraine, right? Yeah, because
where exactly? I'll find out.
Yeah,
it's from Ukraine.
Yeah, Kiev, Dnipropetrovsk, somewhere. Spasiba.
Could be Zaporozhye, could be something Ukraine, but
somewhere
not
there.
Sure.
Right. Yeah,
not so sure.
Well, stay at home, stay safe. Do whatever it is you do to prepare for Saturday because game's on, folks. We're going to have fun. I can't wait. I thought it was fun watching Nick and John Fanning play, but gosh, guys, these are real professionals. These are sorry, Nick.
Oh, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. They're going to play at a high level. I mean, it's just.
Thank you so much, Mikhail,
Yes.
Olga, and we're looking so much forward to Saturday.
Yes.
And we're going to have a fun time, a good time.
I want to see the chess art. I want to see the chess art.
Can you show the chessboard? Share with us.
You know,
our famous host here that we just kind of shoved to the side when chess comes on.
Yes.
There you go. There it is.
There we go. There's the match. Okay. This is this Saturday. Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the match. It's gonna be tough. Romania versus Germany in this match. Okay.
Romania versus Germany. This is going to be quite an interesting tournament.
Right.
It's exciting because we're all going to get to learn something new about chess.
We have one question from our viewers that I mean, we have an artist on board. So, have you ever tried to draw a chess game on the painting? You have been doing a lot of good painting. Have you tried the chess board?
So what was the question? I understood that it was about Maria's paintings.
Does she ever draw a painting on a chessboard?
On a chessboard?
Yeah.
Not yet. No, she drew chessboards on the paintings.
Oh, but no.
Okay.
Right.
In the chess championship, I make a draw during the
during the tournament. Yes.
Yes. During the game, I draw some small
a sketch.
Yes.
It happens to her that she draws some sketch if the game is slow and
it happens. It happens.
Yep.
You know, it's like chess players. When they go to sleep, the wheels are still spinning. So for painters, it's the same. I mean, okay, you play chess, it's beautiful, but what about this?
Yes.
You're a fantastic couple, and it's our great pleasure to see both of you. Good luck, both of you, Maria. We hope to see more of your pictures and arts.
It is really
good luck to you on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Saturday.
See you. Okay.
Grazie.
We'll be
All the best.
Right.
Take care.
See you.
What a lovely couple, huh?
Yeah.
She has some really great chess art. I mean, it's very unique.
Unlike anything else, I've never seen anything that comes.
I've never seen anything like it. It should be in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. But I just wanted to buy it for my own private collection. But
sure.
Next time
Nick's going to have to give us a tour of his private collection.
My private stock. Well, when my grandkids come over, I said, "You can't get anything out of my private stock."
Most parents worry about their liquor cabinet. Not Nick. Nick doesn't have a liquor cabinet. He's got an art cabinet.
Art collection. Actually, my art collection is running into trouble because I got more than I have rooms to hang it. Like, no kidding. Well, I just bought another house and I got more rooms to hang it. So. You need some art, Ankit?
I said you can gift me and we are open. I have a lot of space.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
Ankit, you have your own artist. Your wife is an artist, and so is your daughter.
Really? Yeah. We should go see that. Why don't we post that?
You guys shared some artwork with us. You have
the thing is, if you ever go to these museums now they're closed, but like the Museum of Modern Art here in New York was packed. The Frick collection packed. I mean, art museums are like hot. Yeah. I'm actually a member of the North Carolina Museum of Art, and we have a Giotto, if you know, that's in there that was like and it's world famous. Yeah. So I walk in, I see it, and I talked to the docent and said, "That is a famous piece." They said, "Yeah, but no one else knows that." No, if they walk in, they don't even know that.
Yeah, whatever. Out there. I had the honor and pleasure of
this.
Wow.
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 Yeah. Wow. That's
fashion. That's fashion. I love it. That
fashion
is
and art. Yeah. Yeah.
So you once it's done.
We're going to show that one on our art and fashion.
Yeah, we really have to do that because the art museums are closed. I mean, this is really bad.
Yeah, we're gonna liven things up. We're planning it. When is we're gonna have a meeting here real soon where we're gonna plan a whole weekend of art, music, and fashion, and let people share.
It's been a while since we haven't met and discussed about the plans. So it's time to
good idea. We need are you saying we need to have another real board meeting?
A real board meeting.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. But since this occupies 4 hours of time a damn well, we need.
I don't know. This was supposed to be one.
Since we were talking about that, we started actually running shows through our network April 15th of last year, and then the live stream was on our list of things to do, and we finally got there. So now the live stream is working. I think it's working pretty good. So now if we just keep following the business plan, everything's going to work.
Okay, we have a little technical difficulty.
Yeah, I had to beam out.
We're past them, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know what's going to happen though. We're going to have technical difficulties with our guests that come on. That's going to happen a lot because when we started that other company I did 20 years ago, we brought producers on. There were technical difficulties, but then after a while, you can actually smooth out that because they need certain systems to get on. Then it works pretty smooth. But we're going to have that, and also the podcasters. Okay, notice you got a whole ton of them. And I did finally read. It's almost like delay. I listened to the Kim sent me a little voicemail, and the podcasters, because here's the real problem with the podcasters. You got to train them to use the system, and it takes time to train them to use the system. And so you want to have really the ones that are the best. In other words, the best podcasters on IBM TV.
Well, it's consistency. So a lot of people don't understand this, and this is why I'm hoping that Alexandra will be really good for us because she seems to be very serious. But
you're talking about Alexandra Starr?
No, Alexandra. We're going to do Alex's music.
Alexandra May, the one from South Africa.
Yeah, the music. So
is she going to be on all the time?
Yeah, she's gonna. There you go.
Really? Okay. Well, yeah. That would be a good show. She's very famous. I checked her out in South Africa. Yeah. Okay, and she's an unbelievable artist.
And everybody loves her in Nashville.
I know, and the thing is, they're on the way. When they're in their 20s, they're always on their way up. Okay.
Well, here's the thing
me and Sasha, we just shake their hands and welcome and say good luck. We're glad.
Here's the thing about Alexandra. A lot of people, I learned about music, right, when I went and recorded my first song. And a lot of times, if you're not a very good singer, they just music a lot to make you sound good, or they sync you with people. But she is a real musician. She doesn't need a microphone,
right?
And she doesn't need adjustments. She is perfect. She's natural. She doesn't need anything except a guitar. She doesn't need a guitar, but she plays. Right. And I think she plays the piano too. So, but the thing is that she doesn't need all that equipment to make her sound good. She is naturally good. And I'm very honored that she's going to be starting her own TV show. It's going to be a few things, a mix of music, but she also wants to get a round of songwriters together like we do in Nashville. Right. And she started one in South Africa. So she's going to start a show. Jim Martin's going to get things back up and running.
Jim Martin is such a talent. And the thing is that we just need to see.
So they know each other. They know each other. I introduced them actually.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, you got a lot of talented people. And see, this is what I'm talking about. These talented people, if you have to go to the majors, you go nowhere on the majors today. I mean, it's impossible. But we give them a platform, then they can have worldwide exposure.
Well, they can do their own show.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a win-win situation for everybody. And since Marin is from Romania and Domchenko is from Germany, then I know where to go because I have Germany groups and Romanian groups. I know where to post. That's part of the reason I ask where you're from, because I post to my own groups. But we do have to go back and look at the business plan, because for last month, all we've been doing is the
We're
virus.
doing that thing you shouldn't
Maybe
do.
we'll. I'm not going to be able to be here next Friday, but next Friday after, maybe we will do it after the shows. Well, if I'll see if we can set up a.
You know, we talked about.
Speaking of which, on the board of advisors, Elliot got his financing from the federal government. He just emailed me, so his Chess for Life will continue, courtesy of
Did he get a loan or did he get the PPE?
He got the PPE. So the thing is,
That was only $10,000.
no,
right?
it's more than that. Listen. It covers payroll for 8 weeks. In other words, all his employees are paid for by the federal government for 8 weeks. So
That's
for
not what they told me, but
no. There's two of them. Time.
Oh.
There's two programs. One is 10,000, and that's just the emergency loan forgiveness. But the way some senators interpret it, 1,000 per employee to a maximum of 10,000.
That was wrong.
Then there's another program. It's called the PPE, or we're going to take care of your employees. It will cover all your employees' payroll for 8 weeks. The only problem with these two programs in the United States, you have to make an application. And I can tell you, there are a lot of people out there, because I talk to small business owners and business owner all the time. They haven't made their application, but if you don't apply, you don't get it.
Well, first off, they don't know where to go because
but they honestly, they made it pretty simple.
Class in it because it's not that easy. And, you know, we talk about it being available, but there's not going to be much available by the time they
Well, it's already broke. Okay. The thing is, when you just said that, here's one of the problems. Because it does go through the Small Business Administration in the United States, they believe all the funds have already run out.
It's already been.
Yeah. So what they
a lot of the banks capped. A lot of the banks came back.
What they're going to do is they're going to try to replenish the funds probably either this week or next week. But I can tell you that all the money. Remember, it's $2.2 trillion. All right. On the small business side, at least on the small business side, all the money's gone. So we've already run out of it. There was 275,000 applications in one day. If people don't think that's a large number, if we had 275,000 podcasters apply in one day, we couldn't handle it.
No,
right?
No,
Which is one reason I haven't sent you guys new podcasters. You got to stack
I
them.
still haven't gone through all of those podcasts.
You haven't? Okay. When you're ready for a new, and Kim, when you're ready for a new stack of podcasters, let me know, because I'll go back to the well and get you a whole nother batch. I mean, there's a lot of them out there, but we want the ones that are good and have been around for a long time and have a track record. I mean, if they don't have 10,000, I'm preferring 100,000 followers. They haven't been in the business long enough. I mean, that's the realities of the entertainment industry. And I do have some new entertainers coming in next week, new economists next week. I've got a bunch of people lined up. I'll be sending to you, and so we'll have a good lineup.
I had a guest come in today, Danielle Sabrina, but she's going to come back another day because we were stacked, and I'm going to have to go. So.
Oh yeah, you have to go, and I have to go. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I've got. I got to go to my house up in Raleigh and do some things.
So we'll see you Saturday.
Saturday, yes, I plan on being there Saturday because I want to see these two guys play that game, and I'll make sure we get a whole bunch of people.
We got our ambassador, and we know how to get Sasha to dress up.
I saw that. I was very impressed. He wore a tie. He meets grandmasters all of a sudden. I'm Sasha.
I wouldn't wear a tie for a billionaires. Not for a grandmaster.
I know. I get these people on there, senators and people that are,
And Sasha gets dressed up for the Grand Chess Master.
Billionaires, and the guy doesn't dress up. Just grandmaster. Time to dress up. This is very serious in Eastern Europe and Russia.
Trust me.
Yeah, trust me. Just grandmaster. Billionaire. Billionaire. There's plenty of billionaires, not too many just grandmasters.
Well, you know what, Nick? We had it all wrong. When you started this, you said you wanted to interview every billionaire. You had your checklist. Yeah. It would have been easier to interview every chess grandmaster because there's fewer of them.
There's no question. It's there's less of them than there are billionaires.
Can we get our ambassador for social?
Okay. All right, ambassador.
और ऐसे अपने खांसी जब आएगी तो ऐसे करेंगे अच्छू अच्छू और कोरोना वायरस को धन्यवाद हमारा म्यूजिक
Yeah, I bet she has grown a lot already, right?
Yep.
And we had some amazing guests today. I mean, starting from Dr. Indira Hinduja, and then we have two grandmasters joining us, and it was a great show. From a serious gynae topic IVF to a chess game, which is also as serious as the treatment. So it was a very brilliant show, and I think Sasha is looking like a gentleman king, managing the show for over a couple of hours. That was good.
Yep. All right. We'll see you some tomorrow and Saturday then. Okay.
See you.
Oh, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye bye.
All the best.
Take care. Bye bye.